I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick-Nick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices. Add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick-Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I am your host, Man. It is a good Friday. It is the Easter season and it is a good Friday, right? It is also Super Friday. And so I am glad that you are here. As usual, we always want to look to the hills from whence cometh our help. Our help comes from the Most High God who created the heavens and the earth. If this is your first time to the platform, we want to welcome you. If you're one of the regular viewers, we are grateful that you're part of the I Am Sure family. Please, if you have not yet done so, please hit the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel and share the content with others. We're going to have a great discussion. And when I use that word great, I really believe it is going to be a great discussion. I always believe that part of our duty as people is always seek to find a way to do things better. And you have heard me say this on the channel. When there are problems, oftentimes we look through the window instead of looking in the mirror. And when we look in the mirror and encourage others to do so, it must always be in an attempt, in success and in failure. How can we do things better? And so I'm going to have a conversation with Mr. Dennis Chung, who is the General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation. And I know that he has embarked on the task of doing things better. Yes, we're going to speak about what problem occurred, but we are also going to discuss how things are being done better and how things are being resolved. And so I'm going to bring him on. We are both in undisclosed location, so you can't tell. So you go figure that out by your investigatory work if you do so desire. But we will not disclose our location to any of you. But again, hit the like button, subscribe. It is Super Friday, and we did promise one of our subscribers, a female, who was traveling in a bus. And her wallet got lost or was picked or something, and she drove down the bus afterwards. She didn't find it, and part of the money in it was supposed to be used to pay her rent and to get back. She needs to get back her IDs and all of those things. So here's what we're going to do today. When we get super chats and super stickers, we're going to. She needs like $7,000. So when you give super stickers and super chats, whatever that amount is, we will make a contribution to help her to get, just get things done, because that's what we're about. I will not call her name, but she knows who she is. When she comes in, she can let you know. Again, welcome to the platform. And without any further ado, I'm going to invite and welcome Mr. Dennis Chung. Mr. Chung,
Yeah, man, how are you doing?
giving thanks, giving
I'm
thanks, giving thanks. How you doing?
good, I'm good. I just say I'm not in Jamaica now. I'm trying to work with the little girl.
I have to tell the people them that, man, you almost exposed the undisclosed location, What, go ahead.
Just, just working with the girls there because we had the issue the other day. So in order to part of the resolution to it was that myself and the president actually came up just to make sure that everything is all right with the camp. So we just come off of the road not too long ago.
All right. Before you get into what the issue was and what the meeting did and how it was changed, let me ask you first: what are the girls doing in England? That's what are they doing? First, let's at least get to that. And so, for those who are unaware of the reason for this trip, right? Can you briefly just tell them what is happening and when it is happening, and how Jamaicans, where they are at, can be a part of what is happening? Go ahead, Mr. Chung.
All right. Well, the girls are playing Sheffield United on Monday at 2 p.m. UK time, which will be about 8 a.m. Jamaica time, at the King Power Stadium in Leicester, England. So it's a paid event. So we're up here also helping with the marketing for it. We expect a decent crowd. The High Commissioner, for example, from Jamaica to England will be coming out. So we're just today working with the girls, meeting with the girls and the staff, and ensuring that they have the adequate supplies that they need to prepare for the match, and also on match day, and ensuring we work along with the person who is up here helping us to organize. I want to big up the person, Ron Morgan, who really has been a tower of strength, And what this trip has showed me is that we have Jamaicans all over the world that are willing to step up and help us. And I really, really appreciate that. So it will be Monday at 2 p.m. UK time, 8 a.m. Jamaica time. I will take the decision to actually stream the match live on our YouTube channel. So we're sorting that out now, which will allow Jamaicans in Jamaica and around the world to actually see it, because we thought it was important to do that. We've been working on someone trying to sponsor it, and someone finally said to us, yes, that they'll sponsor it, because we have to do the production of it. So we will be sending the link to you, Manningsman, and to Ryan and everyone, and asking that it be sent out so that people can see it.
Awesome. So the game is Monday, Easter Monday in Jamaica, 2 p.m. UK time, which is 8 a.m. in Jamaica.
Jamaica time.
And it is against Sheffield United. There is a cover charge, which is adults pay $8.
£8.
£8. Yes. And children under 12.
Or senior persons over 65 pay £4.
£4. All right, awesome. And all the regular names are well for persons who all right. People, I can show you the squad afterward, but Khadija Bonisha is there. I know Jody Brown didn't make this trip.
Right, because of the visa issue. She's out of the US.
Right.
And I'm hoping that she will get her passport back this weekend. The staff got theirs back yesterday. So the equipment person will be coming up tomorrow to assist. We've had staff up here that has been provided to us by Leicester, um, help assisting us here. And it has been working out well, So when we realized that the visas were not going to come back for the staff travel on the 5th of April, we had already, in consultation with the coach, made contact with some persons here from Leicester, and they were comfortable with working with those persons because the players in the UK would have been familiar with them already. So it
Okay.
wasn't really an issue. So, and that's why, management, I don't understand this thing that I was hearing when I was coming up about visa issue and thing, because the important thing is to ensure that the staff was there. And, as you've always said, issues do happen. It is how we deal with them that is important. I mean, anybody who has a perfect life, I know is not living on this world right now, you know. So it's just how we deal with the issues when they come up. And I
When they
think
come
that they were adequately dealt with, and I think when people talk about, boy, there are issues and things, I think it's a little unfair to the staff at JFF who is working so hard to try and get the things done. And it's sort of demoralizing sometimes to them to know that they put out all of this effort. They do everything that they're supposed to do. And even when things are outside of their control, people are saying it should be in their control. And, I always ask people, whenever you're going to say that something is not right, then tell us how you would do it, because I don't know how else anybody would do it, apart from what we've done.
Yeah,
Because
but to that though, I will say a couple of things, right? Because I want to make sure we go from the beginning just to give people a clear understanding of how we got here to you being in the UK and how that. But before we get there, what I'll say is to 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 set a foundation to better understand, probably for you to understand is, and for people to understand is one. I believe because of the years of ineptitude in some people's eyes and failure, that people have been traumatized, and so the expectation levels are low, and that something is going to go wrong. And what I don't want us to do is to ignore that many persons have seen what they consider, whether perceived or not, so many things gone wrong, that there is this expectation that what is going to go wrong again. So while it is unfair, it may seem unfair for someone like you who gets piled up into a big lump of failure. The truth is, the ongoing issues have made many persons feel that way. That we have to acknowledge first. So,
yeah,
so to
you know,
reason to people.
I acknowledge that, management, but and maybe I'm speaking from a personal point of view.
Yeah.
But one thing I always do is think I owe an obligation to myself to always find out all facts. I mean, because I'm an accountant,
Yeah.
right? My training, I always seek to find out all facts before saying this is a situation or that is a situation. So that is always my personal view. And especially if you're in the business. So when I used to write a lot, and when I'm writing, I make sure that I find out everything, because it will affect my integrity as someone who writes. And, that is always very, very important to do that, from a personal point of view.
Let me tell you why, Mr. Chung. Um, there was a time when I was very fearful about what I drive,
Yeah.
because the, people used to say, "Hey, pastor, a thief." So the higher end vehicle you drive, in the eyes of many people, a thief, you're a thief. Why? And are
Yeah.
people offering and tithes, right? Now, I know that perception is wrong, but the truth is that many people have experiences such
Come
as
on,
yeah,
I totally understand that, and as I always say, things are going to go wrong.
yeah,
You're running you say you have an organization that is dealing with so many moving parts. You're talking about carrying 20 players from all over the world. You're talking about having to deal with the realities of travel. That today you will book something and tomorrow it's not available anymore. You're talking about having to deal with the realities of going to another country and booking with hotels. Things do go wrong. I think it's always important to recognize that and to know that the most important thing is how you recover from them. Because as I said, I don't know anyone who has a perfect life, and it's how you deal with issues. And I'm pretty satisfied that the staff at the JFF has dealt with it properly. I just think that is unfortunate. There are a few things. For example, the processing of the UK visas are no longer done in Jamaica. you know, um, we could at that point say, boy, if we go back enough, we could say, well, the reason why that doesn't happen anymore is because of the diplomatic relationships. But then that doesn't make any add any value. And in fact, the ministries of foreign affairs and also ministry of sports, they are just some great allies. Yeah, they worked tirelessly to assist us to even get back the visas yesterday for the staff. They were so tremendous, in supporting us on this. And I think that all that could have been done was done.
So let us go back though, Mr. Chung, because as you're at the solution, I think I get enough feedback. I don't know if it's on. Let me see. Hold on. Let me just say this and then I'll let it right. So let's go back because what happened is that it was reported in the news that the support staff was not there for the coach, right? That's one thing that was said. The second thing, and they were mentioned. It mentioned the persons who were left behind because of visa issues. Again, I think why it was alarming is because we have had similar issues in other stuff. So then you did a show. You came on Ryan LFC and sort of brought some explanation as to how things were. And you rightly said it, that there needs to be more investigation and gathering of information before something is said. But you can't blame a reporter if someone within the federation gives them information about a failure. Because isn't it the federation or the people, whether it's a coach, a team captain, the groundsman, the masseuse, the genset, the president, if there is a matter before it comes out in the public, that there ought to be internal mechanism to resolve it. That way, the media doesn't get it before there is resolution.
And the coach said he did not say all that was reported.
Oh, the coach didn't say said he didn't say that.
Yeah, he said he didn't go as far as to say there's no support staff. What he said is that the support staff from Jamaica couldn't make it. And I can't see how that can be interpreted to say there is no support staff, but he said he didn't say that. So he was surprised when he heard that.
So here's my next thing. When that happened, Mr. Chung, somebody needs to be if the people who quoted him misrepresented what he said, then part of the resolution should be they retract it.
No, Mannix man. I mean, I've been dealing with the media long enough to know that that's not necessary. You see, like what we are doing now,
Yeah.
right? Talking now and explain the situation.
Yeah.
That I think resolves it, because what happens is that the next time anybody says something, that person says something, somebody's going to say, boy, I wonder if I should believe it, right? And that is why it's important for people to get their things right, because the more you do things and say things that doesn't go like that, then is the more people are going to say, boy, I wonder if that is right. So I think the most important thing to do, and I never heard it, I think the most important thing to do is just clarify it.
So clarify. So all right. So clarify.
Yeah.
What? Just give us from the beginning, because people are even wondering why are we playing Sheffield? Weren't we supposed to play Cameroon? So give us
Yeah.
from the
So,
beginning to this point, like how did we get here and how things were resolved? Go ahead.
all right. So let me tell you what happened. So we did and the coach did say that he wanted a UK camp in April, right? So we did know that wanted a UK camp. We approached Cameroon about it, right? And because we had, gone to Australia and other and some one other unplanned thing that we had done, we had utilized a significant amount of resources. We were, of course, waiting on some funding to come from FIFA for our national team support and some sponsorship things. The timing of it did not come through in time. So we were always talking to Cameroon, right? Now, one of the things that we're very clear on, and we also have an obligation to FIFA, is that we can't commit to expenditures without knowing where the funding is coming from, because it creates a problem for us when we do that, right? So a lot of the challenges that you're seeing in terms of JFF not being able to pay for flights or pay for something is simply because of that. Because you go and you commit to something. And I don't know anybody who in their personal life goes and commits to something and not know how it's funded. And that's something, a directive directly from FIFA, that it shouldn't be like that. So we're going down now, we're getting everything together. As I said, one or two persons fell through in terms of what we're looking at. But we finally got through with everything. And big up to the Bob Marley Foundation, I must tell you, because they really come through for us, at these times. And I can't emphasize enough how much the foundation does for the girls. They're very, very supportive. But once we recognize that, and we signed off with Cameroon, so they would have sent a contract to us, and we signed it off just about 3 weeks or a little over 3 weeks ago. And we would have started the visa process already, though, right, before signing it off. And then, they had changed the terms at that point when we signed it and said, they wanted a little more. We said, okay. In the afternoon, we went back and we said, okay, we agreed with that, because they felt that they needed more to pay for certain costs because we were covering everything. And then we did not get back an answer from them till 8 days after we signed the contract. And the answer was, boy, we can't make it because we're having visa issues, right? So this now would have put us in a little tailspin with an international match. But when we saw that the contract was being changed and there was no signature was happening, immediately what we did is that we reached out to two international teams. One had an obligation before, the other one said they couldn't come, right? And therefore, we didn't get through that international match. But we did say at the time, okay, let us also, while we're doing that, reach out to a possible club that can play us, right? And it turned out to be Sheffield United. We thought that would have been a pretty decent match. We had actually reached out to another one also, but they said that most of their girls would have gone away, right, because of the international window. So that's how we ended up with playing Sheffield United, right? And the girls were already booked because we had started the process of buying the tickets before, right? Because normally what happens is that JFF normally used to buy tickets like 3 days before, and there was great uncertainty. We stopped doing that. we did the bookings from even before, right? We concluded with Cameroon, and therefore we were committed to persons coming to the UK. So in trying to resolve one matter of the early bookings, for example, we had another issue now that came up, and we couldn't reverse that. So we said, okay, girls, you're going to UK. And I'm pretty happy that they came here, because I must tell you something, Mannings, man. When I look at the quality of the fields here that they have to play on, and then I look at the quality of what we have at home, right? Trust me, I can see why they prefer playing overseas, right? But that's what happened with that, why we ended up with Sheffield. And the Leicester staff has been very helpful, right? So what happened now is, because the processing of the visas are actually overseas, we were working with the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Sports, a person in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I also spoke with Minister Grange. She was working on it. God bless her too. She has been helping us. And then she said to me last week, boy, listen, I've tried everything. I spoke with the High Commissioner, and he said that they're expediting it, but because the processing of the visas are now in New York, we could not do anything but wait, right? So Foreign Affairs and Sports said, listen, there is nothing else we can do. We have to just wait and see what happens. Now, we'll try to expedite it. And the High Commissioner did tell them that, this is a rush that needs to happen. And the truth of the matter is that when getting it back so early is actually, very good, because it would have taken a few more weeks. So we recognize that the staff was not going to be able to make it on the 5th of this month. And then we did two things. Number one, we jumped on the phone with the coach. We said, Coach, will you be okay with us getting staff from Leicester? Because Leicester had told us that they would be able to provide staffing. And I said, Rohan Morgan, he has been a tower of strength here, because he organized all of that for us, and they were comfortable with the staff. We got staff here, and the doctor from Jamaica who had her visa, she went up from last Sunday, or she came up from last Sunday, and then myself and the president said, you know what? Because we don't have our normal staff there, we are going to make the run and come up. And people don't realize the sacrifice in a management, because all my personal plans I had for this weekend and the president, that's out the window, right? So we're here. We came up. We're happy we came up, because we're able to sit with the girls, sit with the staff, have some very good meetings, provide the support, see where they are, and enough respect to the girls, for how they have, dealt with these issues. It has been an unusual situation for them. But we came up. The staff in Jamaica actually got their visas and passports back yesterday, right? After the intervention of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, just responding to an email, right, and saying, hey, we need to rush these things. And then, so the equipment person is actually coming up here tomorrow, because what they said is that, okay, since they got the visas, let's carry up the equipment person, because that's the most essential person. And a flight is booked for him, and this is sponsored by Bob Marley Foundation again, to come up tomorrow. And, that's how it is. And then, so he'll come up tomorrow. He'll assist with all the equipment. Myself and the president actually carried up the gears for the team, with the jerseys, with the printed numbers and thing. And he's coming up tomorrow. And then we're going to be playing the match on Monday. Tomorrow there's a Premier League game, Leicester versus Bournemouth. And we're going to be going there, and the girls are going to be going to watch that match also. And then we'll play the match on Monday. So that's how everything worked out, Manningsman. And, we did all that we could do to make the situation work. There's nothing else we could have done. The only other thing we could have done is issue the visas ourselves, you know. But there was nothing else we could have done.
All right. So a series of questions I have. I totally understand because there are many things that people are raising in the comment section, which is I understand that problems will arise and it is good that they have been resolved. All right. And again, like you said, that way before the trip, you all recognize that the people would not have been able to travel, so plans were made to use the Leicester staff. All right,
Yeah.
miscommunication took place. Totally understand that, but part of the thing is that just based on what you're saying, it does appear that this trip, this camp in England, was in the pipeline from last year.
It was in the pipeline. Yes, it was in the pipeline.
Right. So was the application for the visas done from that time? Seeing that the booking, like you did say something good, that instead of booking flight 3 days before, you did, which mean that once you book the flights way in advance, you have tied yourself into going there, right?
Yeah.
Like for let's use a name, Jody and Brown, one of our
Yeah.
premier
Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
Once there was a camp, shouldn't that application be done from that time, because you know that at some point a player of our caliber will probably need to represent the nation in
Yeah.
in London. Couldn't those arrangements be made way before? That's the one thing I'd say.
Yeah.
'Cause
You
our
know,
going ahead, will that be done?
and I think it could have been done, but the protocol has always been that we wait on the
The
selection
squad.
of the team.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can understand that from the manager's point of view, because suppose the man, and this is where the personal accountability come in, because suppose the manager had gone ahead and just book a team based on what was decided weeks ago, right? Something can happen. For example, a part of the problem why they wanted to have a practice game yesterday, it couldn't happen because some players were injured. So even one player coming up here was injured after coming up here. So the protocol is always that the management will wait on the selection of the team and say, okay, fine, I get these names now and I'm going ahead with it, right? And the truth is that, management, it hasn't really been a problem in terms of getting visas in that time, because it would be over 3 weeks ago. And with the assistance of the ministries, we always get it in a few days, right? The challenge that happened, which we didn't know about, is that the processing of the UK visas moved from Jamaica and moved to New York.
And this is
And
for all UK visas now.
all UK visas, right?
So the processing is no longer in Jamaica, but in New
Right,
York.
in
All
New
right.
York.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good because a lot of us, I didn't, I didn't know that myself. So
I didn't know that. So we never know that. We were told that, when we actually applied for it, that it has to go to New York.
okay.
So I don't know why they moved, but hey,
All right. So,
um,
so, so the next, who is the team manager for the Reggae Girls? We know Roy Simpson is
yeah,
the team manager.
the team manager is Crystal Walters.
All right. Does she ever speak to the media about these issues, or this is the general secretary role? Because
No, yeah, it's primarily my role. I mean, she doesn't speak to the media. Not everybody's a media person.
yeah, but
You know,
can you be in a position like that and then not be available to the media when you have
yeah,
challenges?
yeah, man, I don't see a problem with that,
I
because
see a
I
problem with
mean,
that, Mr. Chug.
no, I don't think so. I mean, no, every company I know has one or two spokespeople, right?
Okay.
Corporate companies, they always have spokesperson, and there's a reason why they do that, right? Because things can be said that someone without media experience, because media experience, management, is not everybody can handle it. Because I'm sure you type, up a whole heap of people with your experience, right? It just so happens that I have had a lot of interaction with the media for over 20 years now. so I know how it works, right? But it is not good to throw people at the media. So some people even get. You remember this thing about this guy who was running for election once? I think it was under the Jamaica Labour Party ticket, and the big man running for MP go on TVG, and when the camera go on him and live, on your issues live, the man said, "Oh, I'm camera shy, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay. All right.
you know,
I can understand that, but
yeah.
but the Reggae Girls team, because you're not the general secretary for the Reggae Girls. You're the general secretary for the
for the
Jamaica Football
right,
Federation.
right.
And that means that there are assignments that the female team will have that you are not there. So you cannot be the primary spokesperson for the team. The issue is that now that this is done, it is good that you have come forward and brought clarity to the matter. But I believe even if not the team manager, there should be someone assigned that will come and speak to these issues. And I always say this to you, Mr. Chung.
Management. Before you don't
Yeah.
have to finish that. I agree with you,
Okay.
but let me tell you this. The thing is a work in progress,
Okay. Okay.
right? And that's all I'll say, right?
All right.
I've been here since November, and I told you we're going to be fully transparent, but there is a work in progress. You're not going to get everything happen all the way. But I agree with you. There needs to be a spokesperson. For example, when Roy Bailey travels with the team, Roy speaks.
Roy
Right?
Simpson.
Roy. It's not Roy, man. Earl Bailey, sorry.
Earl Bailey.
Right?
Right.
Because
Earl Bailey.
Earl is very familiar with the media. And as I tell you, Mannings, man, speaking to the media is an art. Not everybody can do it. Right? And you've seen a lot of people go on and try to do it, and they get
All right.
themselves into problem.
All right.
Right?
So
And
let's move away.
I'm sure you put people into problem too.
I don't know about. I'm a man of peace. I don't know about problems. But let me say. But the truth is, I'm glad that things are resolved, because some persons are saying that this whole documentation or processing of the visa was since COVID, so it's not a new phenomenon, but it was out there. But I must admit that I was unaware. So
I was unaware of it
yeah,
because
so,
the last time I went to the UK to get UK embassy to get a visa is 2018. I have a 10-year one. Yeah, right.
yeah.
So I never know about that. I don't track what happens at the embassies.
So I know you're not the coach, and this is where I'd love like the coach, because what we want to know is that if he believes playing Sheffield will achieve his set objectives, because again, this is a FIFA window.
No. When I
Look
spoke
at,
with the coach,
but
I
just look
spoke
at
with
it.
the coach.
Let me finish though. But let me just finish this and then I'll let you come in. Sorry about that. So look at the opposition. Um, is Sheffield at the same level as a Cameroon or the other nations, Senegal that you were seeking to play, or Ireland? Is it the same level of matchup, or this is like it is better to do something than do nothing? So you said you spoke to the coach. Let me know. Yeah.
Yeah, and the coach wanted an international match. He wanted to play an international team, and the players wanted to play an international team. But the truth is that we just couldn't get one. And that's just a reality. So what do you do in that situation? If Cameroon said they can't come, if Ireland said they can't come, if Senegal said they can't come, and our agent was busy on the phone trying to get many other teams, and it just wasn't possible in that timeline, because what would have happened, Mannings, man, is that a lot of teams would have already made preparation for other things. So we had to do what the next best thing is. So they have training that's going on up here, right? So they're training every day, right? And also we get to play the Sheffield United match, So I think that was the best thing that could have happened, right? And of course we wanted an international match.
All right.
If things had gone well, then that would be good, because I would have been in Jamaica riding my bicycle this morning. You
There
know.
we go. All right, but you also mentioned that the high commissioner, the representative,
Yeah.
will be meeting with the girls, or I think you said attending the game.
Yeah, we'll be at the game. The High Commissioner and the Deputy High Commissioner will be at the game.
This is critical what I'm going to ask you, because I believe that the I don't want to go off on a tangent, but all of these things are connected. There seem to be a different process for players who are female in the United Kingdom to get their documentation ready for representing Jamaica, when different from when it comes on to the male team. For the most part, I get the feeling like the person or the process for the male teams seem to be longer, more difficult, and many times it don't happen. Is it a different personnel, a different process, or it is that we need to engage the high commissioner and the deputy to say, listen, can you appoint someone that we can point people to, where we can, once it is a legit case of citizenship and passport, then we know that this is the person, and the process, instead of taking 6 months, can it be expedited
Right.
2 months? Number one. And number two, there are occasions when I know, like a player now who is thinking about couriering his documentation to the passport office in Jamaica so that it can be done faster. Why is it, like I said, the question is, why is it like there is feeling that the female side, the process is more smooth than on the male side?
Well, what I'll say to you, I wasn't aware of that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will actually have this discussion. I think it's a very good point, with the High Commissioner and the Deputy. I know the Deputy Commissioner very well. So I will have the discussion with them when I see them, or even before, because I do talk to the Deputy Commissioner
Really?
outside of it. Yeah.
Listen, we have 4 players right now on the male side. 4
Yeah.
players who just submitted for appointments. And where there is a mad scurry to ensure that this is done like before the Gold Cup.
Yeah. So I will raise the issue, man. That's what I'll tell you I'll do.
Okay.
I'll raise the issue and deal with that.
Mr. Chung, you know that I'm going to have your number on speed dial, for this one, because I think it is very
Man. Tell the people say you always have my number on speed dial. Don't go on like it's this alone.
No.
Why have my number on speed dial?
Because it's so important, because every
No,
time
man, I understand. I understand.
If tomorrow Coach Lauren Donaldson, Monday, Coach Lauren Donaldson identifies a female, they will find out how she's connected to Jamaica, how to prove her citizenship, get all the documentation, get that passed, and she gets a Jamaican passport and represent the reggae girls in no time. And the boys, and the not boys, on the male side, we have seen wrong submission of stuff, lengthy delays. I mean, it happened with, I can go back to Mikel Antonio, and John Russell, up to recently played. We can go on and on and on and list player after player after player. Omari Hutchinson, Kida Taylor Hart, player after player who the processing. Joel Latibodier, who played in the game in Catalonia. I mean, these are some of the challenges, and I do, I said, the conversation.
Well, let me look at it, Manningsman, and get back to you on that one.
Yeah. But you also mentioned that you met with the coaching staff and the players. I mean, how are the players? I know you have had other meetings with them, given some of their difficulties. How are the players?
Let me tell you something. You know that
how is our captain doing?
Yeah, this is the first time I have actually met with the girls.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
man. First time, yeah.
No
'Cause
Zoom, no. This is the first official meeting?
this is the first official
Oh,
meeting.
all
I
right.
mean, I've met
Tell us
with a
about it.
subset. I met with a subset already, but this is the first official meeting with all the girls. Um, so the girls, I think they had some things that they brought up, you
Okay.
know, and particularly Shayna, who was the spokesperson, and Bonnie, you know, and I did discuss with them and understood. I understood a lot of things they were saying, because the truth is that there were some issues, right? Um, you know, I said to them when they raised the issues that were issues, I said, yeah, I agree with you, right? And what I will do is commit.
The girls have legitimate issues.
Yeah,
Number
man, the
one.
girls have
Legit.
legitimate issues,
Okay.
and they did raise one or two things that would say, no way, we can't agree to that, right?
Okay.
I think the most important thing, and my reading of it, is that they appreciated it, is that we were just honest, right? Because I'm like that Mannings man. I will tell you what you need to hear, whether you like it or not. And I think that's important for communication. I think what we established at the end, and we did meet with the staff also, is that we will have constant communication. And if somebody has a problem, they have my number. Just reach out to me, right? And let me know. But constant communication is important, because they do have legitimate concerns. And we want them to be comfortable. We want our staff to be comfortable. Not just the plain staff. We want our staff in the office to be comfortable. We want Jamaicans to be comfortable. You know, um, and if there are issues, let's discuss the issues. I never run away from it, right? Let us discuss the issues if there are issues, and I think that's what we did with the girls. And I'm pretty happy with how the meeting ended. Of course, there are things that they want, and I said to them, send it to me, right? And
Okay.
let's establish
Okay.
a timeline that these things need to be dealt with. So,
Legitimate things that
yeah, man,
believe
yeah,
that
man,
these
they're
requests are legitimate,
legitimate things.
that the federation, because I'm going to tell you a big one, right? Because one of the big concerns that I have heard from persons associated with female football, right? I see one person here saying, and there are so many comments. I mean, you're very popular on social media. I must say that, when you come on, there are questions and comments that they go so fast. It took Andre Gray nearly 5 years, half a decade. To sort out to get a Jamaican passport. That's what I'm saying. But so you know that I'm giving the real stuff. But then one person, Ohini Blake, and I don't want to lose the point. He says, Manningsman, he says you're missing what the core problem is with Jamaica High Commission. It has to do with male players getting released from their clubs to attend interviews. The staff can try to go. So he's saying that because the male season in England is so, yeah,
And that is true. That's true. I've heard that. That is true. I've heard
yeah,
that is a factor also. Yeah.
yeah. But I think there are other issues though that I know. All
Of
right,
course.
so
Of course, there are other issues, which I'm sure, I mean, based on what you say, I'm sure that there are issues within even JFF too, which we have to look at
I
and
am
sort
telling you.
out.
I am
Yeah.
telling you. All right,
Yeah.
so the bigger issue I want to come to now, back to the girls, is that what I've heard is that there's a sentiment that when monies, I think this is coming from, you were not a part of the GFF, but there's a sentiment that the monies that were given by FIFA to the Federation for female football, um, that was not properly dispersed to female football, and the girls
Well,
felt like, yeah, but
I can't comment on that, and I would never comment on something I'm not aware of the facts are,
okay,
because as I tell you, the definition of gossip is to comment on something that you don't know fully,
okay,
right? And so I can't engage in that. But I mean, if that were so, then it wouldn't be right. It's like certain things were raised by Bonnie, and I say I agree with you. I
okay,
agree.
all right,
What I
and
can
so,
do, what
yeah,
I
yeah,
can do, as I said, and also let's understand that if it were done, it would not be right, because when FIFA gives you funds, as I said to them today, when FIFA say, I will give you money to move this chair from here so to there, you can't move another chair.
But you
You
just
must
answered
move
me,
that
Mr.
chair.
Chung. You said that to them today, which seemed to be that they raised the same issue that
No,
I just
not on
asked.
that issue. Not on that issue.
Okay,
I
okay,
said on another issue that was
okay.
raised. I said I agree with you, right? Um, and you could see that there was some hurt about it because even after I said I agree with you, they were still talking about it. And I said, listen, you win. When you win the race, you don't have to go no further,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because
So will
I
there be
agree. So
any will there be any time, Mr. Chung, when the captain or the core of players, I don't know what you call that, the player rep, and and the the like you, for example, will sit down and say, listen, our girls have requested that when they travel, a chef, just hypothetically speaking, goes with them, and we, the JFF, believe that that is a reasonable request, and going forward, this will be in place. Is there a time when that level of transparency from the team and from you, who are the primary spokesperson, be out there?
I think the time is now. I mean, you know me, management. I'll talk about anything that we can talk about. There are certain things that we can't talk about because of agreements we have with people, or if it affects someone personally. But there is nothing wrong. And what I've said to them today, I said to Shayna, if you have a problem, just send it to me, right? What I'd prefer though, as I said to them, is it is always good to go through the channels. So you go through your team manager, right? If you're not getting anywhere, right, you come to me about it. But what I don't want to do is I wouldn't want to give someone the responsibility of something and then take the authority from them, right? I think that it's important for us to establish those channels and for the players or the coaches to go through the respective channels. One of the last things I want to hear also, management, which is why I don't get involved, and I said to them in technical issues, is that I don't want to hear, as has been said in the past, that the JFF interfering in the teams.
Yeah.
That is something that we can't do. But if there are issues, and as I said to them, document what you want, right? Send it to me. And then I will say, yes, we can do this, or no, we can't do this, and why we can't do it. And then let us have a conversation about it. One of the things I will never do is I will never commit to something that I can't do, right? But importantly, we will have the communication about it, right? And we will talk and leave those lines of communication open because we want the best. The objective, of course, is development of football in Jamaica. And we want the best for our girls who have been amazing. We want the best for our men. We want the best for the youth, right?
Yeah.
And I think that one of the challenges that has been there, the primary challenge, is the communication. And we're going to ensure that that is dealt with.
Exactly. And what I'll say to you is that it was not the best dialogue, but it provided some level of change to the whole male side of the football, which is what I'm seeking from the female side, which
Right,
is
right.
there was a discussion about with the players and the leadership, the Gensec at that time, about what they want, and contracts were signed. Since that time, there has been less issues, and so that is why I ask those questions. If there are
You know,
things that you
yeah,
discuss that maybe it's not a written, but something, there are certain agreements in place that can be out there. Because what I don't want is that next month I hear something coming out in the news or somewhere where there is a complaint about something not being provided, and then we hear from the JFF, but that was not it, and there's nothing to prove except that we
no,
had a
which is
meeting. Yeah,
why,
yeah,
Mannings, man, I said to them, write to me and tell
ex-
me what it is.
okay,
Because I like documentation. There's a reason why I like documentation, right? Because
yeah.
we can go back
There
to
must
it.
be a track exactly.
And I had a meeting, I must tell you. I've had a meeting with Andre Blake. I've had a meeting just the other day with Damian Lowe. And these are individual meetings. And we did have some very frank discussions also. And I think that we left that meeting better, both of us. right? Because I believe it's important for us to confront issues up front, right? So we had that meeting, and I was very pleased with the discussion coming out with those two young men,
Okay.
So I'm trying to ensure that the communication is open between everybody. I think that's important,
Yeah.
and that's all I can commit to do, to ensure that we have proper communication so that we try and avoid these issues. Because these issues, when they come up and they're out there, they distract.
That is it,
They
and that is what,
distract.
and people have been
And
saying that what we need to do is
yeah,
that you'll always have issues, but one, we cannot be having repeated issues.
I
Number
agree
one,
with you.
and two,
And
we
if,
must
if we
minimize.
identify an issue, we fix it.
Yeah, one,
Right?
fix the issues, minimize the issues, and we can't
Yeah.
keep having repeated issues. Those are three key things in management
Yeah, man. Yeah,
because
man.
stuff will happen. But
Yeah,
at
man.
least let us
Must
begin
happen.
to see some new things and say, oh my God. And then we work because we just didn't know. But it cannot be we keep having the same issues. And this is why Warren Webster is saying we need no excuses. We need to get the process a bit smoother. And then I like what Anita Bell is seeing, which is probably from our direct um, political arm. You should encourage all people born outside of Jamaica, of Jamaican parentage, to get their passport and don't wait for something.
Let me say,
That's what,
you see on that specific issue with management,
yes.
it is not that we're not doing it. Because even the coach, Hal Grimson, he has developed a serious database of persons all over the world. But you see, when you identify a good player management,
Yes.
and they live in like the UK or England,
Yes.
you see the same way we running them down is the same way England running them down.
Yeah, that is true. But what I'm saying that getting the passport don't mean that you're gonna represent Jamaica. Getting the
No,
passport is
no. But
if you're
we have
called to
approached
represent Jamaica.
we have approached some people already, and they said, boy, they don't want the passport.
No, okay, all
You
right, fine.
understand?
You have some. I think. Listen, because the thing is that you better to have it and don't need it
Yeah.
than you
Yeah,
need
man.
it
Yeah, man. And
and don't
and
have it.
and and,
Yeah,
and Mannings, man, because you would have spoken to the coach that process has started.
yeah,
He actually is doing that.
yeah,
And I know that Lon Donaldson is doing that also. But it's difficult because you see a player to until I think up to about 19 or 20. If you don't cap them 3 times,
yes.
they can switch.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, we know that. Yeah, right. You have
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
that. So on the next note, because someone just said, isn't it more expensive to fly the players to the United Kingdom if most of them are not in Europe? So what is it? What is the
Yeah, but a good amount of them are actually here.
in Europe? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
That we
yeah,
have
yeah,
more players
yeah, yeah,
now. We have more players in Europe and in England,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
possibly
yeah,
in the States. So it would
yeah,
make
yeah,
sense to play it.
yeah.
To
A good
play there.
amount of them are actually here already.
Yeah. And somebody saying, what about the players who want to play for us? So that's what I'm saying, that you will have one and two will say, no, I'm waiting. But I think there are many out there. Those are the ones we're talking about, that there
Yeah,
needs
man.
to
And
be. And that's what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying,
but
Mr. Chung, you have
but
to
you,
engage the High Commissioner, and those people to say, listen,
yeah,
let us
yeah,
have
man, yeah. But
regular.
Mannings, man, you would know that a lot of engagement is taking place with potential players.
Yeah, but no, but what I'm saying, like the coach, Mr. Speed recently said the coach should be heading to the UK.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
that would
yeah.
be it would be good for him to be able to even meet with the High Commissioner and those persons, so that he can develop a
Yeah, man, yeah,
rapport
man,
with
yeah,
them,
man,
kind
yeah,
of
man.
thing. So it would be good for him
That's no
to
problem.
arrange those things so we can have the sort of networking to expedite some of these things for the betterment of the football.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah, man. I agree.
yeah, yeah. You also spoke about the surfaces that you saw there. All right. Now,
But
having seen that, what
that
are
one
you
I
going to
can't know
do?
nothing about in Jamaica.
Huh?
Because that one is a long-term problem for
No.
Jamaica.
That can fix, Mr. Chung, man.
But man, you see the pictures that them have up here?
Of course. Of course. No, I'm saying, Mr. Chung, you don't believe that we have enough resources in Jamaica to get at least one other surface that like the one up by UA in a next place in Jamaica. If
Yeah,
the
man.
golf
So
course is
all right. So let me tell you something. We are actually working on the one up at UA, right? And we're gonna redo the whole field, right? And we've
okay,
actually improved it from where it was, right? Because we've done a lot of work at the center. The center now even has sleeping policemen installed up there, right? So we have
no, hold
eh?
on, hold on. You have to ask, what is sleeping police? The sleeping.
No, because you'll be surprised, that some people come in there and they're speeding,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And we remember we have players in there, right? And what a lot of people don't understand is that when they think about players, they don't recognize that most of them are children. Because
Okay.
once you're under 18, you're a child, and therefore the safety is very important. So we've been doing a lot of work up there. We're doing it on the field.
Yeah.
Montego Bay also at the St. Catherine Sports Complex. They are actually closing the facility to redo the whole field, right? So the work is happening, but even so, it is at best medium to long term that you're going to see that sort of field. To get the sort of field that you see up here, I mean,
No, no.
you know
Yeah,
that those things take a lot
yeah,
of money to
no,
maintain every month
no.
too.
All right. So you see what you have up at the Captain Horace Burrell Center.
Yeah,
That is more sustainable in terms of maintenance. So a
yeah.
lot of fields in the States and even in England, you would know that some of them are turf. So they're easier to
No, well,
maintain.
the ones that I've seen at the Leicester training ground are
Yeah.
grass, right? But I
Okay.
tell you, management is the prettiest grass I ever seen in my life,
All right, and that is fine.
right?
I'm saying that maybe we can't replicate that
Yeah,
in Jamaica.
and
All
and
right.
one of the reasons why they're able to do that too, because that training ground, has about 8 fields, so fields get to rest. One of the problems we have in Jamaica is that even when we put the work into a field, a club will have maybe 2 or 3 teams, and they're always playing on that field.
All right. So
You know,
here is our because I always like to suggest, and this is
yeah,
stuff I hear from people. So there is the Arnett Guard, the Tony Anthony Spalding Sports Complex, which is one of
yeah,
the better maintained surfaces operated by a club in Jamaica. And what they have
yeah.
done is is that they have getting a feedback on your side.
No, no, man, go ahead. A call was
Right.
coming in.
Yeah. So they use a Charlie Simmons, the fix up Charlie Simmons High School field surface, and they train there, and they maintain their their main surface for games. It still needs a lot of work, but we can see. All right. Now I believe, like Coach Hal Grimson, if golf courses can be maintained and look so pristine right throughout the year across Jamaica, then and if Sabina Park, when you see games at Sabina Park, for the most part, especially when you have the CPL or a West Indies tour, and you see those patterns in the grass, you go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I believe that we have the expertise and the resources to replicate, maybe not 8 surfaces in a stadium, but I agree with you. But we can say, listen, we have Captain Horace Center. Let's go to Central Jamaica, set up one of these, and put some grass surfaces and maintain them. Now, many games don't play at the Captain Horace Center, so you can control the amount of game to protect the surface itself. There is also a proposal to look at the Trelawney multipurpose stadium. Is there a way that the government can can work in partnership with the JFF to look at how we can do something there, because it is not being used. There's a next field up in Sligoville, St. Catherine. That was built by the Chinese, I understand. Not a thing up there. and it is maintained to some extent. These resources are there. No, hold on, you're muted. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go
Let
ahead
me
now.
first talk about the Sligo Bill thing, right? I don't know who put that up there because when is the last time you go up there?
Eh?
The last time I go up there is when I ride in my bicycle up there to do some training, right? That is so far out of the way, right? To get there, right? But on the other fields, let me say that we actually, in our talent development program, we have targeted about 6 fields around the country that we're trying to work with, including the one up at the center, including Montego Bay, right?
That's Catherine Hall in Montego Bay.
Catherine Hall, yeah. Including also to do some development work at the stadium also, right? So we've targeted some places that we want to work with. So we actually have those things in train, right? And we've sought the funding to assist us with that, right? And I've been also speaking with some people in the government also about that, because I think that we really should be looking at least one good field per parish minimum. But it takes maintenance, and also, very importantly, we need to understand that the fields cannot be played on consistently. One of the challenges we have with fields also is not that we only play football matches consistently on it. But you know, minds man, that we'll have all a party the night before or the night on it.
Tell me
That's the
about
culture we have.
that is happening at Draxall. There was a sports
Or-
day. There will be a party, and there will be a Premier League game. So I understand that, and I know what you're saying. But that should, in other words, the more quality field we have, I think it is the better the fields will be upkept
Yeah,
or kept.
man. Yeah, man.
So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you have only
So
four good surfaces, they are going to be overused.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have to get into that culture. But you know, and true, that's a cultural shift, because you know how it go, man. I mean, you know, a man say a good field, and everybody want to play on that field.
Yeah.
You know, that's the
Is it
demand is
possible,
that.
Mr. Chung, so you can name them of companies? The NC, I don't even know, but let me let me call some banks. So I call several. The Scotia Bank Sports Complex (NCB), where just like how stadiums in the USA, they are named after mega companies because they put money. A lot of them even. So,
Yeah,
so for example, if the KFC were to have the naming, the stadium is named after them somewhere. What that means is that they can have their events there, but they also provide the maintenance costs for it.
yeah,
But because they get a naming, you understand me? Promotion. Their promotion is that every time
yeah,
that
yeah.
goes out,
But
it will be
you
kept
know,
at yeah.
those things are possible, you know, and those are certainly things that we're exploring. One of the challenges we have to, as a small nation, is that you see, whenever we put on a match, right, a reggae boys or a reggae girls match, you know, the first call they get, man,
Yeah.
boy, I can get a ticket, right? So we don't have a culture also of financial support when we have games. So a club here, for example, I was told that a club recently had a game, and regularly they get how many? 90,000 people. You understand what I'm saying? So we have a lot of challenges that we're dealing with, right? If you were to call someone and say, hey, I have 10 tickets, buy 10 from, no, 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 no. But they'll call you the next day and say, boy, I can get 2 tickets, right? That's a cultural issue that we have to address also, because that is one of the challenges I know clubs have, right? Because we just don't like paying
Yeah, because we don't have
to
a
go
lot
and
of,
see
and
matches.
I agree with you. There's a freeness. Listen, I can say it, you can't, but
Yeah,
I can tell you, there's a freeness culture in Jamaica. People, we love freeness. Like people pile up for freeness. There's a freeness. But what I do is because I've had events, and I know that there are at least, I mean, the amount of people are going to beg ticket. So here's what I do. I go to a commercial institution, a major company, and say, listen, can you sponsor 100 tickets? And that are for the people those are for the people who want free. Because I'm still going to collect for them, but those are the free tickets. And then I'll
Yeah,
say, listen, I have given away already. So what I'd say to the JFF is that every time you have a game, we have to find, the federation have to find a way to get companies to buy tickets so you can give to those people who want free tickets.
yeah.
But
But
people
you
who
know,
must buy.
I tell you something, we do that, and we have companies that buy tickets. But guess what, Mannings, man? Because the match is in high demand, when they buy the ticket, they want the ticket, right? So you give it to them, right? No, I mean, God bless SDF, because every time we have a match, SDF will take out a checkbook and say, boy, listen, I'm buying 200 or 300 bleachers tickets, right? And SDF does that. But most other persons, when they buy tickets, they want the tickets because their staff want to go.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know what I mean? So we do that, but you still have people who call, hey, I can get one or two, or you know what I mean? I think that's important for us to support the matches, because you won't spend, you have a match come maybe twice a year, spend a $15,000 or so,
Yeah, you're going to the
buy a
Premier
ticket.
League. Yeah, I have a big assignment for you and the president and for Bonish and whoever is there, Because you're going to
Yeah,
the
man.
Leicester City game, you say? You know that
Yeah,
there are a
yeah,
couple of people who can
and
pay for Jamaica.
it's Leicester and Bournemouth are both in the relegation zone,
They know
right?
that. So you know that there is a. It would be nice if you can have access to some of the players, because there's a couple. There's at least one player at Bournemouth who could represent Jamaica, and one at Leicester, In
Well, our agent is going with us, so we'll definitely discuss that with him.
Yeah, to see, listen, I am introduce yourself and say, listen, we'd love for you. We
Yeah,
understand that you have Jamaican connection. One is a one is a captain Bournemouth. His name is, I think, Lloyd Kelly, and
yeah, yeah.
at
Hmm.
Leicester is a player who was he was injured recently, and he's back. Oh my lord, what is his name again? But he plays for Leicester, starting player, right? So if you're in that era, in Jamaica we say we use one stone to kill
Yeah.
two
In
birds.
Jamaica, 5 bird.
Right? So it would be good that while you're there, we
Yeah,
do some of
yeah,
that. Just to,
yeah,
I always believe that. Listen, you have to engage people. You have to engage. There is also Jaden Anthony. You have Justin James,
yeah,
yes. Jaden Anthony, Lloyd Kelly. Jaden Anthony was an Arsenal player who is at Bournemouth. You have James Justin. Yeah, good players that the Morgan, because the Morgan guy helped you. He should be
yeah,
able to
man,
get
Wes. Yeah,
these guys should be able to get it to at least have a conversation.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, nothing may come of it, but the truth is that people must know that we care, because people don't care how much you know
yeah,
until they know how much
yeah,
you care. And let me tell you how I got this. When I spoke to some friends of mine from London, and it resonated with me. Their point is this: a lot of these players, they don't feel accepted in England, but they don't feel welcomed
in Jamaica.
in Jamaica. It
But
takes
but 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 management, the way the crime going on, not even Jamaicans feel welcome in Jamaica.
but so I think if you like, if you and the president and
Yeah,
whomever
man,
else is there,
no, man, I understand, I
yeah,
understand. We had already planned to do those things already. So which is why we're going to the game tomorrow. You know, so we'll be well clothed because it's cold up, hell, boy, I tell you, right? And ensure that we carry out those tasks.
all right, all right. Yeah. Well, they say they're saying that. Yeah. Well, yeah. People, there's no 90,000. Right. So let me just one thing in the Mister. Let me just tell you, Mister Chung, you can't slip, because these people them have all the stadium attendance, right? So it's because you said
No, I
90,000.
am telling you what was told to me.
No, well, there's no stadium. I think even Arsenal have one of the biggest stadium on Old Trafford. They don't hold 90,000. Yeah,
Well,
so
I'm telling you what was told to me.
yeah.
You know.
Them give you
Yeah.
they gave you a 9 for a 6. It should be
Yeah.
60,000.
Yeah. It might have been an overemphasis, but that is what
Yeah,
was told to me.
yeah. So
You
they
know.
will.
But the point is that the point is that when they have a match, the stadium full. You know, there's
The
some
Premier League,
like
yeah, that is true.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like
some stadiums
the match.
sometimes because not all of those stadiums. It looks like that because some of the stadiums are 15,000, twenty
Yeah,
thousand.
man, I know. But they were talking about a big team. I can't remember which team they were talking about. They were talking about a big team. Like the match tomorrow, because both of them are in relegation zone, should be a good match. You know, because they want to come out of it.
Yeah,
You know, so the people up here are expecting a good turnout for that match tomorrow because of that.
yeah. People, some Warren Webb says asking like how many times like persons in the leadership of the JFF call a player and says, listen, like when they have said, okay, like welcome home, kind of a thing. Because some of these things we did propose to you that, when the players make their debut for Jamaica, like Russell, was there any special thing? I'm gonna give you a big one, sir. Damian Lowe in the game against Mexico played his 50th game for Jamaica. Was there anything done?
Oh no, I wasn't even aware that it was his 50th game, to be honest with you. But I did speak with Damian right after the game, and I wasn't even aware that if I had known that, I'd have big him up for that. You know.
Yeah, like
But he did come and meet with me, and we had a discussion for a little while.
yeah. The point I'm making is that there we have to these little things to me and you're a
They matter.
businessman.
Yes, they matter. But
They matter.
and we do call players. I call some players sometimes and talk to them. You know,
Okay.
so we do talk them do that. You know, of course, you know there are a lot of other issues you have to deal with. So you know when you get information, you call players, talk to them. You know, and I do that from time to time.
Let me tell you this, Mr. Chung. I know that there are big issues, but I'll say this. I have some people, because I manage people, and
Yeah,
to some of them, you see, if I call them and say happy birthday,
it means a lot.
it means more to them than if I don't come and fix the leak on their house.
Yeah, man. I know that. And that's very
Yeah, yeah,
important. That's very important. I
yeah,
know that. I know that.
yeah. Yep. So, hey, let me just say this. Somebody close to the team, you need to give Mr. Chung some details as to some of these things. Let him know the players who has played 48 games. So when we get to the 50, when we get to the 100, he
Yeah,
needs to
we need to celebrate that.
yeah,
Yeah,
like John
yeah,
Russell made his debut. I'd love to know that he got a photo of his team at the game to
yeah.
commemorate that. Thank you for representing us. And some have gone, but we should start that now because
Yeah, man. I agree with you. I agree with you, man. This one.
so you know who said that though? The
Who's that?
person who I don't know what is happening to him now, and I know he's probably watching. Mr. Deering. Mr. Deering said, listen, when I interviewed him, he spoke about giving the players this world class
Yeah, treatment. Yeah.
treatment.
I
That
agree.
when it's because he believed that the biggest seller of people coming to represent Jamaica is player experience. That
Yeah,
every player
yeah,
that
yeah.
has a great experience will get an next player to play.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Can't disagree with that.
yeah, yeah. All right, but listen, I always like to give you time. I mean, give you time to just in case I never ask something that you think it is important to share or to bring about. I see the people here saying that the fans want Mason Greenwood. I think Mason Greenwood needs to want Jamaica.
Yeah, Mason Greenwood has said he's not interested in playing for Jamaica. So You know, we could have wanted a little more. You know,
Yeah. Okay.
yes,
He actually
it's
said that. Or,
that is what was, yeah, that is what was reported. Yes, yeah,
reported.
yeah, yeah,
Hey, Mr. Chung, listen. Here's how I am. You taught me this, you know. You said it earlier too. That
yeah, yeah.
if you
But
don't know,
yeah, you find out. Yeah, but
you, you find out.
as I said, I do not get involved in the team
In that
issues.
part. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That it
Respect that.
right. Nobody can say that I influence any team matter, because at the end of the day, I must be able to say when I speak to a coach, boy, you know, you were the one who made these decisions.
Yeah.
You know.
All
But
right.
what I will do, people will send me things like clips from time to time, and I'll just forward it to the coaching staff.
Okay.
You know, I don't say anything else. I just forward it to the contact information, and that's it.
Yeah. Listen, I believe that if you reach out to a player and he says no, you leave him.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
you.
But
Yeah,
but if the player should say, "I've changed my mind," we appreciate
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't believe, you give your best effort, and that's it.
yeah,
Once you have done
yeah,
your best, you have to leave it to the player because they have a
yeah.
decision to make. I always tell people that as much as I would want all of these players to play, I also understand that some of them would prefer to play for the place that they are born.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
appreciate that, and nothing is
and,
wrong.
and
Nothing is
listen,
absolutely
listen.
right. Yeah.
You see, a man who wants to play for Jamaica, he will always give a lot more than someone who play just because they don't have another option, even if they're better.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So you know, you're right. If someone don't want to play, they just don't want to play, and that's life. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So make sure we give our best effort. And I think it is
Yeah,
good
man.
again for transparency that you come out and say, well, we have actually spoken to this player, and
Yeah.
with respect to the player, we he at this time the player is but I always find it strange, because every single girl that the female team talk to seem like them come and play for Jamaica.
Manning's man, remember that
What?
Jamaica is a big
It's over.
team,
See
you know.
that? Hey,
Jamaican
yeah, yeah.
Jamaican women team is a big team internationally, you know.
Mr. Chad, what you're saying right now about the men's team?
Yeah,
If you,
but in terms of ranking,
that cannot be the
listen,
reason,
no, hold on.
That
In
don't
terms
sound
of
good.
ranking, the whole of management, in terms of ranking, Jamaican women's team is a big team in terms of ranking, you know, right? Listen, it is two. They have gone to the World Cup 2 consecutive times, you know. You think that is an easy feat?
I, listen, I don't know if you want to say this, next thing you have a couple of the footballers on the male side listening and say, "Oh,
No,
you mean so the
no,
women team bigger than our team?"
no, no one is discounting the male team. The male team is a very good team, but I'm saying that you're looking at the the attractiveness of the female team, right? And they're a big team.
Well, I agree to that. The female team is very attractive.
Yeah, they're a big team.
you know, that, I call them
They
very
have the
attractive.
female team has possibly the number one striker in the world right now, which is Bonnie Shaw.
Yeah, they are very attractive, beautiful
Yeah,
set of young ladies.
yeah.
Should I jump off and come back on?
No, 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 no. But we have my co-host. Yeah, attractive looking. That's what I mean. Mr. Chung not picking it up. That's what I'm saying, though. But it's
Oh,
all right.
I'm talking about the football.
But welcome, Stan Cranky.
Dennis, how you doing? How you doing, man?
Come on, how you
I'm
doing,
doing
man?
well.
Good conversation, and I'm somewhat pleased, even though I don't have all the facts. As Dennis says, we got to be careful about not having the evidence to substantiate our perspective of what we're seeing. But I am pleased with what he's saying in a number of veins, even though sometimes we can't corroborate some of this information. So it's a good thing if we're doing all these things we're doing.
Yeah,
Dennis, what I would love to see though, Dennis, is at some point something comprehensive about the football in its totality, about what we're doing comprehensively, just all aspects of it, whether it's grassroots, whether it's field, whether it's players, whether it's sponsorship.
We have that plan in place, you know. We do have all of that in place.
No, I'm not saying you don't.
Yeah,
I'm saying what you can disclose to the general public, because now you have platforms. This is no longer CBM or TVJ where you get a little 20 minutes and 30 minutes. This man can be here sometime like he's in church for like 6 hours, right?
Yeah,
he's here a long time. So you have time and a forum.
Yeah, but he'll be here alone if it's 6 hours.
But he doesn't mind, by the way, because he likes to talk. He doesn't mind. But the point is that you have a forum now and a significant reach to be able to bring this to the general public across the globe. And more people will tune in, especially if the plan is really comprehensive and really thoughtful and clearly outline what you're going to be doing going forward. So I think that'd be a really good thing, actually, because as you said, it's good now that we're doing much more communication with the general public, because sometimes when you're in the dark, you draw your own conclusions about things when that may not be the case, right? So if you're coming through and providing us with intelligence and information to inform our view, that'd be a great thing for us to know more, and we feel closer to the program that way.
Yeah. And I think that is, you understand the need for that, right, Mr. Chung?
Yeah, man. No, I definitely understand the need for that.
Where information is missing or lacking, people create their own. And I said, I mean, not everybody still agrees with you. Some people believe that it's a lot of excuses because
That's fine.
But what I'll say, I am at least happy that I'm hearing, because then I can assess and evaluate and make better decisions. Having heard from you and heard what was there, now I can put both things together and, as Jamaican would say, pick sense out of the nonsense.
Yeah.
Which is
that's fine. If everybody agreed with me, I'd be worried.
Yeah.
You know, because it would mean that I'm not trying to do something to move forward, because the only time everybody can agree with you is when you're doing nothing.
So I have a different take on some of this, though. So here's my question to you. What's your biggest challenge? So now you've been in a job for how long as a gem sec?
November, December, January, February, March, April. 6 months.
So what's been the biggest challenge? So two things. What's the biggest challenge so far? And what has been unexpected since you assumed the role? What are some of the things that, you know what, you could never contemplate having been on the outside looking in versus now being in the job?
I think the biggest challenge has been just the organizational capacity that we've had to deal with, you know. And
can you expound upon that? Because when say organizational capacity, is it people? Is it resources? Is it logistics? What is it? Is it the volume of what needs to be done?
No, I just think it's an overall. Yeah, you know, just an overall organizational capacity has been the biggest challenge, you know, in all aspects, whether it be resources, you know, whether it be human resources or whatever, it has been the biggest challenge. The biggest surprise is, I guess, in some way emanating from that capacity issue, that this thing, I mean, everybody calls me about everything, you know. So, you know, when we will be here talking about a team, for example, remember that, you know, my constituency is 8 teams, right? My constituency are the referees. My constituency are the players. And I can tell you that everybody calls me about everything, right? So it's a lot. So, you know, when I come off of this call, for example, I might deal with another issue. Well, not necessarily come off of this call, which I'll have to do mind man, because after 10 here now, right?
Yes.
I might fall asleep on your phone, right?
All right. We want to.
So wait, no, man, we're not finished. So if everyone is calling you, so now what you do, and you've run companies before, you have your delegates, you have your report, people report into you. Don't you divide and conquer those responsibilities? Don't you have a team who have clearly their responsibilities?
I did say before I said that the biggest challenge was organizational capacity.
Okay.
Well, people, you know what that is saying.
But I would think let me manage my I don't know. I would think if when you go into an organization, you try to figure out where I first spend my first, they must say the first 100 days, right? What are my first 100 days?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
If
Yeah,
you
man.
realize initially that organizational capacity, and that's a really interesting word and put it in quotes that you use, is your biggest challenge, isn't that the first slot that you fill? Isn't that what you first address, which is, you know what, for me to be
Yeah,
successful?
but then one of those things that restricts is, I think, called funding. So I mean, I would love to go to the moon, for example, but I don't have money to go to the moon, right?
Right.
So what you
Let me
have
say
to
this.
do is
Sorry.
manage that capacity within the resources that you have. You can't, and this is the mistake that a lot of people make. They think that the changes can just be made whole scale. There are serious considerations, funding, there are legal issues, and all of those things you have to consider, right?
So
Mr.
one of the
Chung,
things, one of the things that
Cranky,
we,
Mr. Chung,
go
hold on,
ahead.
Cranky. You see, this book is called Good to Great, right? Yeah, I think you read it already. Jim Collins, right? Why some companies make the leap and others don't, or some federation. It speaks about getting the right people on the bus and getting them in the right seat, and getting the wrong people off the
So,
bus.
you jump ahead, management. Another question, Mr. Charles. We have a direction we're going in, which is if it's organizational capacity, and that capacity is not volume, meaning number of people, it's capabilities. Shouldn't you then address that in some? You can't do it right away from day one, right? But your first assessment is to assess the capability of your staff, and then make decisions about whether or not those are the right people. Are they the right people in the right roles that can carry out the duties you need them to carry out? Has that assessment been done? I think he went to sleep in the mornings, man.
Mr. Chung.
I think he went to sleep.
No, he's not. He's not sleeping. It froze, so he's going to come back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think he fell asleep on me. I got too excited.
Yeah, no. He's not.
No, because Manning's man, look, we want him to be successful, right? We want everyone.
Yeah.
We want the program to be successful. And I think what I'm hearing, because what we have seen is so many debacles that have occurred with the program, where we know it has to be a people issue. It's not just a resource issue. Resource meaning funding and monies. It's a people issue. So if everyone is calling him Manning's man, he's only one person.
That is so. In accepting that you are being called is admitting.
Yes.
Is admitting that there is a problem in the organization. If everyone has to be calling you, the organizational structure and the competence of the people in that structure needs to be seriously looked at.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of his first mandates should have been management, given all the things that occurred, is that he should have been looking at that as he went in. And his first 60 days is assessing their competence, actually.
Yeah. I have messages on the phone. People, you can't message me when I'm on the show because I'm focused, right? We have a call online. Caller, welcome to the show. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I think you had a caller, Manning's man. You think you had a caller?
This is Mr. Blake. Mr. Blake, welcome to the show.
This is the head of the Ultras, Cataract.
Yes, sir.
Good night, Mr. Chung. Good afternoon, Manning's man. Good afternoon, Mr. Cronky. Blessed peace.
Somebody say I look antsy. I don't know why I look antsy. Maybe I'm excited. I am not antsy. I'm pretty comfortable in the seat.
Go ahead, Cataract. What say you on the discussion so far?
So I'll be quick. Mr. Chung, thank you for taking the time to speak to us, the fans on the show. I would ask anything controversial so late in the night, except the just 2 quick points. One is a recommendation that in your meeting with the High Commission, that if you could put forward a suggestion that the outreach department of the High Commission could reach out to the male players who have a difficulty in getting the appointments. I thought that point wasn't. I didn't put it across clearly in the comment section. That they can go to the club and conduct the document verification. That officer who has responsibility for community relations rather than the player having to try and get a break from his club. That was the first thing.
So what you're saying, Ketara, that the players generally don't get a break to go into London to do this?
Particularly those who are outside of London.
But Ketara Mannings, we got to put a better process in place to facilitate that to occur, right? You know, players are like precious diamond in today's environment. They're managed by their agents. They don't really do anything for themselves, frankly. And for us to go get a doctor, we got to help them to allow that to occur. I think the players have too much pressure put on them sometimes to do all of this for themselves versus us working with them in tandem because look, it's a mutual situation where they're getting some benefit from it, but I think we're getting more of the benefit than they're getting, frankly. Right? So if you really want something in life, you really pursue it.
I think that's what Ketarock is saying. So if the players would not normally get a break because they're tied up, say you're playing the Premier League, your time is very limited. So what he's suggesting is that for those players, the outreach arm of the consulate should go and visit the players at the club instead of waiting on the players to come
in for an appointment.
Into the consulate.
So here, can an appointment be done via Zoom?
I don't think they do it.
No, because they have to check the documents. It's document checking that they're doing.
No. But can you send the documents with your agent to them and they look at the documents?
So Mr.
What do you mean?
Mr. Cronky, I respect you, but I really called to put these things to the General Secretary.
Because Ketara, let me just tell you something. Let me tell you something. I'm doing something now on my own for some family member with the British consulate. We're not going there to do some stuff. I'll just tell you. Okay, so some of these things can be done differently from what we're saying can be done differently.
So maybe it can be done online, Ketara. Maybe there is, because how feasible, how manageable in terms of the process is it for the consulate to go to a player's club?
There is an outreach officer. There is a person in the consulate whose job it is to do community outreach, right? It is just whether we deem football or national football team to be part of that outreach effort. That person goes to church service. They go to funerals of prominent Jamaicans. And that officer,
no, man. Here's what I'm saying, though, Catherine. No, man. That's what I'm asking the question.
Go ahead.
The outreach person may go out to engage stuff, but do they actually go out? You know of situations where they have gone out for able-bodied persons to complete the process.
No, I'm saying to you that the outreach desk is a desk that has an officer who deals with outreach. They do community outreach. I am suggesting that football and this unique situation we have, it be put to the High Commissioner that this could be incorporated in their duties. I am suggesting something novel. I'm trying to find a solution. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying that it's done now.
But what I'm saying is that I think Cranky's suggestion is to me more feasible. All right, I'm going to tell you why. All right, so in Canada, you do when you're applying for your citizenship now, you do a test online. All right, you do the test, but they can see.
But that's not the Jamaican way.
No, man. No, you have to let me finish. Let me make the point.
It's not the Jamaican way.
They do the test online. If you fail the test, you get to do it again. If you fail it the second time, then you're invited to come in, because the test is not really to not make you a citizen, right? So they will let you come in, and once you go in, you will do it. It is, they do the test because you cannot come in, basically. So my suggestion is what Cranky is saying. hold on. If the players, you know them, they are Premier League players, and that is a unique situation, wouldn't it be, like Cranky said, wiser for the consular officer to do it online instead of
So
creating now a specific desk to do something outside
no,
of the country? Go ahead.
I'm not suggesting creating a specific desk. I don't want Mr. I'd ask you to send me the link if you were so minded, but I don't want Mr. Chung to fall asleep.
Well,
We cannot
it look
change
like he
the
has fallen
laws.
asleep.
Hold a second.
But
Hold a second.
I'm just
We
letting.
can't.
Let me just tell you, he's not on the stream right now. That's what I'm saying.
Ketera, can I jump in here for a second, Ketera? 1 second, Ketera. 1 second. Here's my frustration with this. This is 2023. Don't tell us what we have not done in the past. Tell me what we're going to do going forward. Or you take, unless you're taking fingerprints, Ketera, the process can be changed, can make an exception for special circumstances. You can do a Zoom, you have his picture, you got all his forms, you can look on the Zoom and see his face. So you want to match up, you can ask him question online, it's like the person in front of you. The virtual is like being, in fact, it's even more so, you can see the person's expression. They can turn their face away, they're facing you on a camera. But this whole concept of, that's not how we do things in Jamaica, but maybe we need to change. That whole notion about that's not how we do things and it's a different, no, it's dated. Dated. Yes, go ahead, Ketera.
I don't want to go down this rabbit hole because I'm not trying to change the processes, because I'm saying concretely that the process of going for an appointment at the High Commission is the least effective and the least efficient way of getting a Jamaican citizenship.
Agreed.
It's the least efficient.
Agreed.
Right? And so I don't know why, but I know why, because one person knows that process. And so the JFF have got that process. If you're an investor who is seeking to get citizenship by investment, you don't have to go to the embassy. So it is whether you deem that Mikel Antonio is investing millions of pounds into Jamaican football by turning out for our national program and treating him as a serious business investor.
Okay.
He earns £75,000 a week. So I don't want us to go there. I'm just trying to find a solution.
Yeah, so what you're saying, Ketterak, is that not all persons are required to go into the council offices in order to become citizens. And therefore, you're suggesting that that footballers be treated in like manner because going in is the least effective way. And we need to find a new way of having them do it, as with other groupings of people where they don't need to go in.
Okay. I agree with you there.
No, man, I'm asking you.
I think that's what he's saying, right? That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying.
Yes. I'm also saying that I know for certain knowledge that there's also a desk. The tourist board has a desk at the consulate, The JAMPRO has a desk at the consulate. And the JAMPRO desk deals with looking for investors to invest in Jamaica. I'm also making a suggestion to Mr. Chung that he also tries to speak with the JAMPRO officer who is at the Jamaican consulate when he's speaking to the High Commissioner. That person is enlightened to look at our Premier League players. Let me just go at Premier League, right? As investors in Jamaica, and that the same way in which they go out, travel and go and meet potential people who are going to invest in Jamaican businesses, that officer, who I know for certain fact have time on their hands, meet or try to outreach or try to court our elite players and look at them as persons who are investing in our country with their talent and treat them as such. I don't know if I'm making sense, Dan?
So here's what I say about that. I don't think we even have to go that far.
Yeah, I see them as investment.
Dennis needs to talk to the High Commission about how can we create a much more effective and efficient process to allow people who have a desire to represent Jamaica and have the skill set to do so, to enable them to become citizens. In fact, we should be doing it more holistically across the entirety of the Jamaican populace. One is to become what's so wrong about most people of Jamaican lineage to become Jamaican citizens? Should that be encouraged? versus discouraged.
Yes, of
They're
course.
gonna,
Yeah, which is what Anita Bell was saying earlier. But what I'll say, the one thing I'll say though, Cataract and Cranky, we don't have, we don't have, we don't have the same issues on the female side. So why, in other words, whatever
organization management,
the system
organization.
is, whatever the system is,
Yeah.
it works perfectly for the girls.
But as you said about resources, about capacity,
Yeah.
right? The
Really,
capacity on the female side seems to be working really, really well. The competence, I'm going to use the word competence on the female side,
oh,
seem to be in play and in place, that you know who's involved, management, most of the people involved, versus who supports the male element, even though everything goes to the gen sec, which is interesting.
yeah. You understand, Cataract? So I agree with you, that would be that would be a good idea. But at the end of the day,
So,
is
so
it the
manage.
system that needs to be fixed or the person needs to be changed?
No, manage. I'm not getting into that. I am
No,
saying to you.
but no. I am
Hold on,
getting into it.
let me
No,
finish. Let
hold
me
on,
finish the
Cataract.
sentence.
Hold on, Cataract. If I have a sister, right, and we have the same task, and every time she does it, it is done well, and every time I do it, I fail. Is it the way to do the thing that is the problem? Or is it me, the brother, who is the problem?
Okay. I don't know to answer that question, so I will just stick to what I know. I'm saying to you that there is a budget. There is a budget for a officer who is stationed, because all of those things were merged into one to get economies of scale. So they operate out of the same
Yeah.
building, right? For a person to go out and get investment. I am saying that that person does not do that for 200 days of the year.
Management and cataract. Hey, management and cataract. Management and cataract. When you're flying, let me listen. Wait, cataract. When you're flying and you go to the airport, you go to the airline, they sometimes have 4 lines. Those who are citizens of that country, those who are flying first class or business class, right? Just think about those lines they have. There's prioritization, right? So if you go to England, there's one for people who are euros. Now it's changing at Brexit. So you're British citizen, you don't have to do anything. You get expedited service. If you're a foreigner with no visa, you go to a different line. If you come to first class priority, you go to a different line. If you have TSA, you go to a different line. There are lines in life about how these things work. Get it right. If you're an athlete, don't play for your country and play country, you go to a different line and a different way of you getting your citizenship or getting your passport. Get it right. That's what they need to do. They work a lot with the council about who fits in what line and how do you do it in an expeditious manner, so you don't have these situations where we're running into visa problem and passport problem year after year after year.
And Jamaica don't have citizenship by investment, fact though. By investment, Jamaica don't have that.
Pardon?
Jamaica don't have citizenship by investment.
Okay. Well, the government, the head of the state, can voluntarily, acting on the advice of the Prime Minister, decree Jamaican citizenship onto a non-national of Jamaica, if you want to put it in that language. Okay? But Stan, I'm going to say this quickly so we just move on. I am not talking about the visa, the citizenship application process. I am talking about the process of reaching out to elite players to encourage them to want to get a Jamaican citizenship. That's what I'm speaking about.
Right. That's a different construct, right? Yeah. So, okay.
Right. So I'm saying that if we work not in silos, but work as a team, so that person who so it's not, and I'm not talking about picking a man to come on the squad, which is where I think Mr. Chung got it wrong. He is not going to speak to, for example, we're not asking him to speak to Mason Greenwood to pick him to come play for Jamaica. I was suggesting that they outreach to him to encourage him to take up his Jamaican citizenship, so that if and when the national head coach would want to call him up, we are not told if you have a passport or there's not a delay. So there's a difference between, I'm going to say this, and I think the JFF has not gotten it, between recruitment and selection. No one is asking the administrative arm to interfere with the selection process.
Cataract, I don't want, because we did say that and he agreed though. I said to him, listen, we should get everybody to get a passport. And I went on and said, it's better to have it and don't need it than need it and don't have it. We did discuss that. And he said, you know what, I agree. He said that.
Yeah, but man, what he didn't say is that we're going to pursue this method of trying it, right? There's a difference between I agree with your suggestion, but are you going to execute it? Are you going to act upon it?
I did say to him, that I'm going to put his number because I'm going to follow through on some of these things because he's also going to speak to the player. But I just got a message from Mr. Chung, and I think it is important that I let you know. He said, his battery died, and the charger he has is very slow. So he want to apologize to you. So that means he will not be able to come on. But we're going to conclude this maybe tomorrow around the same time with him, right? So he apologized. And listen, everybody involved in football in Jamaica, for Christmas this year, I will be getting you all.
No. Let me say this. No. Cataract, let me jump on this one. So Manix Man, I think we should donate. Manix Man, we're going to donate to your channel so you can buy the JFF personnel, come in your program, chargers for their media devices that they use to communicate with you, because somehow, some way, those chargers seem to crash. I don't know, all these people with all these resources, like Rudolph and Dennis can't have chargers that work.
Be honest, Cataract, you know this.
Manix, I heard my good friend Wayne Thompson, who I've known for over 25 years since I arrived in Jamaica. From the day I landed and took up my first job, we worked at the same place and we spoke football at the lunchroom on the first day I came back to return to the island. He's an IT man who I know will have more chargers than money.
Well, no, they need a British charger, right? They got to convert it in England.
No.
They got to convert it in England, so maybe they didn't have the converter, but I assume that's what happened.
All right, let me just say this.
So I accept the apology.
No, man. Apology accepted, Mr. Chung. Let me say this.
Apology accepted, yes.
Let me just say this. StreamYard, the platform, if you use your cell phone, whatever phone you have, generally, unless you have it plugged in,
yeah, you got to plug it in.
And if you plug it in, depending on how new your phone is, it's going to get extremely hot. So normally, it is not advisable to have your phone on StreamYard for over an hour. You use a computer, and he was on his phone, not making excuses, but that is the reality. I using the platform StreamYard. All right.
So that Rudolph doesn't have an excuse because he's in Jamaica and he's been doing this for a while. So I don't know why Rudolph always a run out, but we had to speak. Is that Dennis's excuse? Yeah.
So Stan, Manix, I don't think I stay on for an hour, but when you call and I am out there, I use the StreamYard. The hotel, England is cold, and the hotel have AC. So the heat is not like we're in the middle there, son. But I leave that. I don't want to break and get off anything. Manix, I'm just saying to you that I'm talking about a cohesive, holistic approach to enticing the elite players to look to Jamaica as a viable option. Now, those persons who tell somebody to come invest billions in Jamaica, they have that marketing talent, right? That diplomatic talent to go and speak to someone.
Right.
They're not going to say whether the person is a good footballer.
Cataract, where you and I are different. It's simple as this. I believe generally as a nation, I call us right now a straight nation. We have massive human resources and capital, intellectual capital outside of our country. As a nation, our leaders, the party you support, and the other party, and all the other parties must make a concerted effort to encourage everyone of Jamaican heritage to pursue getting a Jamaican passport. Right?
Okay.
I am not
I
making.
want to
Let
say
me
something
finish.
with you,
Let me
Manage.
finish. I'm not making an exception for football because there's a person who's probably an IT expert that can overhaul the entire IT sector in Jamaica. That exemption is for them. There may be a medical doctor. There may be a track and field athlete. There may be a basketballer. There may be a teacher. There may be a pilot. There may be a multi-billionaire in foreign currencies, not local currency. So I believe that there should be no special exemption when you're based on what you're asking for footballers alone, but every Jamaican person with Jamaican heritage. That would include
Okay.
your footballers as well.
Okay. So management.
Get a passport. Go ahead.
So management. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to end that part so that I could have made the other couple of points that I wanted to make, which I thought were important. One is that when you try to do everything fish and fowl, you sometimes spoil, right? We are speaking about the Jamaican national football team, which is why I'm saying. And I have no problem if it includes the person who is going to find the cure for HIV/AIDS and the cure for cancer and the cure for illiteracy. Everybody who wants to get a Jamaican passport. But this program is about football. Hence, I am focused on the issue of the Jamaican senior national men's team.
Can I ask you a question, though, Ketera? Because
May I finish?
You're never finished. You're never finished.
Ketera.
No, but I love
Ketera. When we started the show, we started with women's football. Out of common courtesy, we have segued into male football. So if we're going to stick to what we're discussing, we're going to discuss female football. Let me ask you this one question.
Okay.
No, man, I'm just giving it that. But we're going to go on.
And women's football.
No, Ketera, let me finish. Just please, I'm going to give you. Let me finish.
Ketera, drink some water. Drink some water while Mannings is talking now, because you feel if you're not talking, you're not being available, you're not presentable. We are hearing you. You don't have to talk 24/7. Give your voice a break for a second. Drink some water. Go ahead, Mannings, man. Drink some water. I'm going to moderate Mannings, man. Mannings, man, your time to speak. Ketera, think that when he's on a program on the phone, he has to talk 24/7. None of the other panelists can say a word. So, Mannings, man, it's your turn. We'll rotate the turns, Ketera. Mannings, man, it's your time.
All right. So, what I want to ask you, simply, Ketera, is why is it the failing process on the male side is not failing on the female side? Is it the process that is the problem, or the people who are in charge of the process? So why are we going to, and here's the second part of the question, why should we change a process that is working and working efficiently and effectively? Why should we change it?
I'm not sure what the question that you
asked.
Oh,
no. Can I just jump in here? I don't think it's changing the Mannings, man, because
no.
Go ahead, Ketera. Go ahead.
I'm going to I commend your previous statement to you, good sir. You don't have to speak.
Go ahead. But you have been doing most of the talking. But go ahead. The floor is yours.
I think we're convoluting two issues. I don't believe that on the women's side, Jamaica's in the same war as they are on the men's side. I believe that Gareth Southgate has openly declared war on the JFF in terms of the retention of elite talent and not allowing those elite talents to represent Jamaica. So I believe that there is a different circumstance on the men's side. So I am not focused on the process of citizenship application, because I believe that if the JFF had a very elite player, for example, and don't jump on me, let's say Mason Greenwood said yes tomorrow, I believe that you should send him a first-class ticket and fly him to Jamaica, take him by limousine from the airport right up to Pika and hand in his documents. I don't believe that you should go through the London process, etc., and get him his passport in 3 working days. His citizenship in 3 working days, which is possible because you pay for express service. Right? So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ability to convince the elite players that representing Jamaica is a viable option for their international career, and therefore encouraging them to apply for citizenship and the passport that would give them the option to represent Jamaica. Here ended my contribution.
Thanks for that soliloquy, Cataract. Appreciate the soliloquy as usual. So I'll say a couple of things. One is we were actually talking, Cataract. We said thanks. We said thanks. We said thanks. Thanks means stop. So here's the point, Cataract. I agree with you wholeheartedly about the expeditious process we need to employ for people with exceptional talent, including our footballers. I totally agree with that. I don't think Gareth Southgate push is against Jamaica per se. There's a war on talent in the world for elite personnel across all disciplines. Unfortunately, for most developing countries, they lose their talent to the more developed countries. No different from football, except the football is going the reverse way. So whether you're Nigerians or you're Ghanaian or you're US with Balogun, you see nowadays, everybody wants the elite talent, and England is feeling the pressure because they're the ones developing the talent and people are rating them. So it's not about a Jamaica thing. We just have a lot of people who move to England and have kids who play in the English system. It's not it's not a Jamaica thing. It's England pushing back and saying, we can't play everybody in the first team at the same time. Be patient. And players are saying, I'm not patient. I'm going to think of alternative. That is the fact of it, right? But I don't disagree with you that we need to have, every management strategy, a more holistic strategy for people who are not living on the island of Jamaican citizenship to help them to gain that passport to say they're Jamaicans. Frequency of interaction is better than one-off interaction. What do I mean? If I talk to management every day for 5 minutes versus twice a year, I'm going to be affiliated with him. We're going to be engaging in different things about different things, become much more familiar. Jamaica needs to reach out and engage its quote-unquote population, which is not on the island alone, and have them feel an affinity for the island. We're not doing that in all respects. And we keep using sports as the only medium and way of having these things occur when we have much more pressing needs than sport, frankly. Sports is a great thing. It's entertainment. It's important. But the island have much more pressing needs than just sport. And sport can help to facilitate some of this. And we should try to ensure we use sports as a medium to help us do these things. We all rally around sports because it satisfies all of us when the island does well. But we have much more needs than true sports, Cataract. You know that. But I don't disagree with you about the fact that we need to do a better job of allowing these elite players to get Jamaican citizenship. Well, I don't hear the US having these problems. When Robinson or Des or Musa want to look at how much they pursue in Balogun. When those kids want to become US citizens, elite talent, they find a way to get it done. We should do the same thing. So,
yeah.
Thank you for your longer soliloquy than mine.
All right. So we have moved away from the process itself to so it's not about the process. I think there's a problem with the process on the male side, and if it were just the elite players that we were struggling with in terms of the process, I would understand. But we are also struggling. If we have a League Two player, the process is just as difficult sometimes. So the process on the male side, or the personnel who control the process, needs to align with the girls' process. That seems to work for a Tottenham player, a Chelsea player, a Liverpool player, Arsenal player, a Manchester. Like, it works for those players. Some of the top clubs in England. Even though we may say that football is not as appealing as male, all right? Now, in terms of the making people feel welcome and want to represent Jamaica and marketing Jamaica, I agree with that. But here's what I also believe, personally. If we begin to make this about the entire diaspora of Jamaica, if you start getting the mothers, the fathers, the grandfathers all of those people, the businessmen, the tellers in the banks, the medical doctors, and I think that would have a greater impact on even the elite footballers, because they themselves interact with many of these people. For example, I can just imagine if there was a big reach out and Robbie Lies from AFTV and Troops and these guys begin to feel like they can get Jamaican passports and Kevin Campbell and all of these things. People not even involved in football doing other stuff in those areas. People who are MPs and police officers and bar owners and shopkeepers and all of those things. I think that to me needs to be the bigger push. One, because they're going to add value to Jamaica locally, and it will entice and encourage more elites. We can still reach out to the elites because one doesn't stop the other from happening. But I think the bigger push needs to be just Jamaicans generally spread out across the globe.
Okay, I agree. So
Took a long time to get you there. It's too difficult to get you there, Cataract. Too difficult, man. It's like you're tired. You know when you're tired, you want to rest, you want to sleep.
Sorry, you have had your chat, you have had your soliloquy. I love you, so I agree. That's 2 seconds. Manins,
Yes.
from as far back as when I debated Cronky, I suggested that a holistic approach
How did
to
that
the
debate
recruitment
go?
of players.
Just remind me.
He has recovered. He has recovered yet. He has recovered.
Why this man speaking? Don't you know the mute button? Thank you. Don't let me tell you like Angela Bromberg did. So Manins, when you want a player, this is what I believe is a puzzle that can work, because the players have to be convinced, because in this case, they have a realistic option that is way more attractive than representing Jamaica. So unlike a businessman or a medical doctor, the option to come and play for Jamaica is a less attractive option than the option to get an English cap, right? Now, I believe that your corner store, your barber, your community activist, if the GFF and the coach identifies that this player is a priority for Jamaica, that we activate those community persons, so that when they go to the barber say, Mr. Max Arans, represent the country, no? When he go to buy his patty, the restaurant man, the people there get involved. When he go to church, if he goes to church, or when his mother goes to church, or his grandmother goes to church, the pastor. When they go to the garage to fix the car, the man will fix the car said something to him. When him go to pump gas, when him go to Sainsbury's, the whole community is mobilized. And I believe that that's when we would have a chance at being more convincing about the benefits of representing Jamaica. Now, on the other 2 issues I wanted to quickly bring up, Mannings. When, for example, we are going to a game like the Leicester versus Bournemouth game, I was surprised that the GenSec didn't know who the eligible players were, so that a courtesy, a meeting on courtesy, could be conducted to break the ice, so that the administrative and the protocol side, meaning the president and the GenSec, they would reach out and meet with Lloyd Kelly, Jade and Anthony, who are the only 2 people now eligible where Bournemouth Leicester is concerned. James Justin is no longer eligible. He has 1 Nation League cap, so he's one and done, right? To say, I'm shaking your hand, I'm breaking the ice, may I have your number so that we can have a chat sometime, and likewise with the president so that I can pass it on to thing. What's the number for your agent? Breaking the ice is important, and I hope that is done. By the way, it's Christmas. Here is a bun and a Jamaican cheese, just in case you never know about this, and a bottle of rum.
It's actually Easter.
It's Easter, yes, sorry, Easter.
No, it's Christmas. It's Christmas for you. It's Christmas because you're talking. So it's Christmas every day. When you talk, it's Christmas for you. Keep going. It's Christmas.
like a little courtesy package that you would give to somebody to say, here is Jamaica, Blue Mountain Coffee or something, that you plant the seeds about Jamaica in that player's head. So Mr. Chung, if it's not too late, I know it's going to be more expensive now because the price is higher, but see if you can get a one Blue Mountain Coffee, a small bottle of rum, even though encourage drinking, but a banana cheese. So you can give whoever is eligible at the Leicester versus Bournemouth game if they would accept.
Yeah. Cataract, I agree with that, But listen, and I did say that. And am I surprised that he didn't know? I'm going to tell you why. I'm not surprised. Because Dennis Chung was not involved in football. I'm not making excuses, but I am not surprised that he doesn't know some of these things because he has not been involved in football. Which is kind of strange because this is what we're going to have to learn to deal with when we want change. That you're going to bring in a lot of non-football people who are going to take some time. So it's two things, right? Do you get the football people in the football who would probably have this sort of information, or you get people who are non-footballing people but can bring the so it's a
But management, it's a business, And if you're running a business, you gotta understand who your constituent is and what customers you're trying to reach. And these players are a product.
Yeah. Well, they
but
have
they're
that.
customers. There's a product you're trying to get, and you got to think about who's going to be involved in getting that product, right? And the GenSec will be a key person if they have access, as Category is saying, to maybe even engage the product. So I do think it's something he needs to think about as he goes through his journey of thinking, I can also influence players in some way, shape, or form
Exactly.
if I'm in contact with them.
Where I agree with Cataract, I think somebody's saying is that, who just said it? Must be Warren, that I think the fact that he's going there, even though it's a short trip, I think it would have been good to speak to the coach because he did say the coach has a big database. Find out from the coaching staff, who do you have in this area? Who do you have at Sheffield? Who do you have at Leicester? Who do you have at Bournemouth that we could speak to? Because that's where that I think could have been done or should have been done. That's where I agree with you. But I think that is what should have been done. But there is it's a very I just figure that the more certain people get involved in the football, we're going to hear a lot of I didn't know that. Which is what your question, Cranky, was so important, Cranky, because your question is suggesting that the answer to the question, there is a suggestion that, listen, the whole capacity thing, Cranky, is very big in all of this. When you come from a certain environment and you're brought into a new space, it's shocking when you see the kind of people and the processes that you have to deal with. Just let me say finally, Crank, if you were supposed to leave your company now and probably work in something similar in Jamaica, in the first 6 months, you would be living in shock and awe. Go ahead.
Yeah. Would you accept if a pastor came on a program and said, I don't know the books of the New Testament? When you get the job, sorry, I'm just being frank to you.
No,
you may not know before, Hold a minute, please allow me. You may not know before, but once you hold the role, there's some things you have to learn quickly and learn while you are executing. Right? So I leave it there. And I'm not going to beat the man. Maybe he's not like me. In the wake up every morning and say it like timetables. Right?
Here's one of the things. Cataract. Here's one of the things you do though, Cataract. And you and I always have problem with this. You make some statements and you just want to leave them out there and you go on. You don't give people an opportunity. You use an analogy. The man has been here from November to this time. You use an analogy of a person who's a pastor, who would have gone to seminary, who don't know the books in the New Testament. None of them.
Yeah, and I'm saying to you, I am not beating. Hold on. I am doing my analogy and I'm saying that you have to get quickly in.
I'm not disagreeing, but I'm saying, Cataract, how a pastor who has gone to school to study to be a pastor comes to be a pastor in a church and don't know the books of the Bible, align with a man who was never involved in the sport and gets it for 6 months and don't know players. How that works?
So can I referee this? Can Can we move on to something else? Because we won't get to a good place. Because Cataract does take these journeys that he's the only person on that lane going down his lane, and we need to bring it back. So Cataract, using that analogy, use something else.
So change the conversation. To break from the clinch. The referee said to break from the clinch. I'm going to break from the clinch. Marines, man, it wasn't Mr. Chung was there, I said to you that at a game in Canada, the then General Secretary made this statement, and I quote, I would a little one day, I go up on the field now. It's recurrent, so I am not bashing Dennis Chung.
The then General Secretary.
Hold a minute. And that General Secretary was a former president of an FA.
No,
had been in the sport.
Cataract, but I totally agree with you. If you hear me, Cataract, that General Secretary being involved in the football at the national level, had so many player meetings, should have been reprimanded for that. I did say to you that Mr. Chung would and should have called the coach and asked the question, because it is 6. I said that. So when you use,
I agree.
And what I am saying to you, all I'm saying to you is that the example of a pastor going to theological seminary and don't know the books of the Bible.
Every pastor goes to theological cemetery? Every cemetery?
Seminary, sir, not cemetery.
We all know that Cataract argues and rationalizes things on a tangent. So it's not going a straight line. It always veers off in some direction. Do not go down that direction. It's a camouflage, a wrong direction.
All right.
He's in wrong direction. So stay focused. Be linear.
Not every pastor goes to theological college. Not every pastor goes to seminary.
Thank you.
Seminary, right? Not every pastor does that.
They all go to cemetery. They all go to your cemetery.
But every pastor go to a cemetery because every pastor adjudicate over funerals.
Well, am I them to lie too? Anyway,
seriously, hold on. Hold on about it. But I take it to you turn the IT and fancy cap. Look here, manage. I'm just saying that having known the names now, I'm just suggesting. I'm not talking about not knowing the player. I'm saying that the protocol that when you're going somewhere, that you can exert your influence, that those things are there. That the appreciation to break the ice so that we get a solution going forward, so that it never happen again. So that when they go to the MLS, if they go to the United States and they go to an MLS game, the same thing happens there, right? So it's not only England we are talking about.
Let's go back to the point that he was making. Cataract, is my time now. You have a soliloquy. We're rotating this. Let me go back to let me just say this, which is, I do think, though, what he's saying is that he doesn't have the level of competence around him to even help him to even think in that way, right? So you need people around you who's going to provide information. You can't, as he said, he's getting all the calls. He can't think of everything. If management was on his left-hand side and Carrigan on his right, and they would say, you're going to England, here's some considerations. He come up with a list of things he needs to consider when he gets there and execute against them. But if he has to think of everything and he's taking calls left, right, and center, I can now understand why he may not be able to think of some of these things, Cataract, because the support is not there. As management said, if the ladies and female team does have a problem in certain areas, and the men are experiencing that problem, why is that the case? Is it that there are different parties who are supporting the different avenues how that work? that has to be the rationale. And as management said, why isn't that collated? Why isn't that integrated then to say, you know what? If you're supporting the female team and they're doing well, we're going to leverage your skill set to support the male team and maybe alleviate some of those problems.
Okay.
That's how we should think.
Stan,
Yes.
I agree with you. And so maybe the move should be to say, Sadella Marley is doing well with the women's team. Ziggy Marley, if you want to take on the male team, Bob Marley, I don't know who. And so I have agreement to what you're saying, but you have raised an important question about competence. You weren't on the stream when Mr. Speed said that they were using headhunting or they know people and they're going to bring them into a position to hire a marketing manager. And I said, why doesn't the GFF practice advertising for the vacancies they have so that competent people who may have an interest and qualified persons may submit their application to be considered, right? Because the process by which he said they are happy with going about, which is just basically, I'm going to paraphrase this, giving the job to somebody that they know and think can do the job, or that they know can do the job, hasn't panned out, right? So I would like to know, for example, does the General Secretary of the GFF have an official, the GFF have a post that says you are the executive assistant to the General Secretary? And what's the qualification of that person? Because you are correct. The General Secretary can't be expected to know and do all of these things because he or she will become overwhelmed.
But Catarac, I did ask him about that who do you have to who is the secretary for the General Secretary? So we asked that question. You know.
And they
No,
was
we don't.
critical.
The management. We don't use the term. We don't use the term secretary anymore. It's executive assistant.
Executive.
Yeah. It's like saying it's like an air hostess. We
Yeah.
don't use those terms anymore.
Which is what he spoke about, the capacity, the organizational capacity. He answered that. All right. Remember now,
Interpret what Benjamin is saying, management. He needs a definition of organizational capacity.
No, man, he said what you said was the interpretation of organizational capacity.
Okay.
When you spoke, which is what Mr. Chung was alluding to.
Yeah,
all right. So what I will say is that there is, you see the way about advertising the post, it's a legit way to hire. It is not the only way to hire. Which is
not the Jamaican way to hire.
Right. Which is what Mr. Speed
It's not the only way to hire. No. But who said that?
Which is what Mr. Speed said when he spoke. So the example is like because they have brought on people, you know. Mr. Chung did this in another channel about the amount of persons who have been amount of changes that have been made, which is why there's let me finish. Why there are many persons, which is like there are people now who are happy that you have persons like you who are questioning him because he's supposed to be moved, because he's making changes, which is why the football not going to move, you know. Because
one question.
Right.
Is this additive? Is this supplement and additive or replacement?
No. So people are being replaced.
Okay.
And people with higher competence are coming in, but they are not really football. They never run a club. They weren't in of a parish executive. So there are other people kicking back against that. So it's a very difficult, and I mean, yeah.
Manins, I hear you. I thought Cranky would have jumped in before here. Manins, we know HR. Cranky, I must say.
Oh, so I don't. Right? What do you mean by that?
No. You are the person making the assertion. And I'm saying to you,
I know HR.
That good. And you would know that nepotistic hiring which is also a way of hiring, meaning hiring people in your family and close to you.
Yeah, but Keter,
But hold on, let me finish. Let me
Keter, I am
finish.
not going to go down unless you can give me.
Make him finish. Make him finish. Make him go. Oh, where is he going?
No, I'm not saying the
No, man.
JFM.
All right.
No.
I
Oh, God. I
can't
am
go
not
down.
saying that the
Keter.
JFM.
All right. So this is
Oh, God.
I'm going to let you finish your point. Just let me just say this. I think from where I started to where I'm at is a mighty big distance. So I'm going to let you finish, all right? Because the distance from where I started to where I'm at right now with the show is so far apart. So I'm going to give you your 15 minutes as usual,
I don't
uninterrupted.
want 15 minutes. I don't want 15 minutes uninterrupted. I don't even want to go there. I'm just simply making a point to say that hiring by selective who you know has been categorically proven to be the least effective way of hiring when you have a wide and diverse talent pool from which to select. Where you have a very small pool to select from of professionals that are known in an industry, it works. However, in the case of Jamaica, where for many of these jobs, they could be done remotely. Persons in the diaspora.
Let me ask you a question. The position that you
I thought I was getting.
Oh, sorry. 15 minutes. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Right. Good. And I'm just saying.
You say never need it, but keep going. Jesus, Lord, mercy.
No, but I haven't reached the 15-minute mark yet. I reached the 1-minute mark. Stan, I will listen to you. Have you come across where exclusively a company does not use the process of advertising its vacancies as a means of hiring?
No, look, it's normalized to advertise. But let me just say this. This is a little bit controversial. So in a lot of industries, you prefer to hire somebody who you know. But why is that? Not nepotism, somebody you know. You know why? Because you have a 35 minutes, a 45 minutes, an hour interview, you see 4 or 5 people. You're telling me what you have done, I interview you. But if you're loquacious, you're eloquent, you're articulate, you may get the job, but you may not be able to do the job really well, and your resume may be overstated, right? If I know management, I've engaged with him, I know his competence, I know the work he has done, I have a history of his performance, that's a more informative way of hiring someone. But I would agree that what you first do is you source the position in a wider domain, because you may get someone better than the person you actually know is good, but they may be excellent, right? You source the position, you bring the people in, you interview them. Yeah.
And then I'm going to make a point. Ketera, the position that you presently hold in the political arm of Jamaica that you're involved, was it advertised?
I was voted into that position, sir.
No. How did you make the slate?
I received the majority.
No.
Yes, it was. Yes, the vacancy was. Yes, the vacancy was. Yes, the vacancy was advertised. And I was voted by the delegates who are eligible to vote by the majority of delegates.
You sound like me, Brother Jake. I can't interrupt. Manning's man. That was like a throwing a grenade in the room and walking out in a Manning's man. It exploded. So I'll say this, Manning's man, because we work in the political affairs of the country, because we know how that works. Nepotism is pervasive, as we know, in certain environments. That's all I'll say on that subject. We can change the subject and move on to something else.
Ask the question, and if you answer, I will happily give you the election results.
What I'll say though, Keter, is
I know you did. No, and for the position that I have held, for the few times that I have worked for people, for the position that I've held in government, I was interviewed, I responded to an advertisement and went through an interview process.
Okay.
At the end of the day, there's a reason why people do background checks. They follow up on with the
But I do
companies that
agree.
you
No,
work with,
I don't want you
right?
to misunderstand
And
me because I do agree that there
yeah,
is a need to advertise. But what I'll say though is that I remember King Cranky was on, and we were talking about with Mr. Chung the last time, and we were talking about the engagement of the diaspora. And I think it was Cranky or Neo, it may have been, who said they didn't know that persons outside of Jamaica could operate in the JFF. And he did say, if you, I think it was Michael or some, I can't remember, but he did say, if there is something, send in your resume. He did say
all
that.
right, Manning,
He did say, send an
Mannings.
email to me and I will look at it because person were saying that they could do this and they could do this and they could do this. So there
So
have
Manning,
also been that option. Whether or not it has been done, because people could say, well, I sent an email and nobody responded to it. But he put out
Yeah,
his
he
email.
did say that.
He
He did say
did
that.
put out
Yeah.
his email and said, if you're in the
Yes.
diaspora, you wanted to volunteer in these areas, then send something.
hold on, there's a different thing that you're talking about volunteerism, right?
But they do
I
say
am
that
talking about, hold on.
remember Mr. Wayne Thompson yesterday said that people don't understand that the spirit of volunteerism has died. And they don't understand that a lot of the people who serve in Jamaica's football over the years, no, he said 25 years, he did say they volunteer.
Yeah, he did.
I'm saying no, and I'm saying volunteerism has its place. It's necessary. However, at certain levels, what you want is competence, right? Because
But you
and you
can be
have
a
to pay for
competent
that.
volunteer, Ketara.
Hold on, let me finish now, man. And I'm saying where you can hold an employed member of staff to accountability. Sometimes you cannot have the same level of accountability with someone who is volunteering.
No.
Right?
No. I
Hold on,
disagree.
let me finish. The general secretary of the JFF, for example, or the team manager of the senior men's national team cannot be a volunteer
No. All right.
because
Cataract. Hold on, man. Because
hold
sometimes,
on, let me
but you
finish now.
keep on making statements and you move on to the next thing.
I'm not moving on and being
Yeah, but so
interrupted,
Yes,
sir.
you are. You are. You just moved on a while ago.
I didn't move on. I said that.
No. You said you can't hold volunteerism. People volunteer,
accountable.
but the same level of capability or same level of accountability as you do someone who's fully employed. That's what you said, right? I'm gonna paraphrase what you said. That's what you said,
Yes,
right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, and that
Okay,
is
yes,
not
sir.
right,
Go ahead.
Cataract.
Isn't it?
No, the same standard and expectation I have of my volunteer staff, I have of my paid staff.
What you meant, Catherine, what you meant was that the level of risk that a volunteer person incurs in that situation is not the same as someone who gets paid
Paid.
because they
Yeah.
don't have a salary to lose, they don't have a job to lose. All they lose is their position. They can move on to something else. What you're saying is the level of risk that they encounter is not the same for volunteer versus non-volunteer. That's what you're saying. But you can't say you can't hold them both accountable. You can't hold them accountable at the same level. Yeah.
Okay, so let me say this
In
and
fact,
finish so we get on to football.
Cataract, let me give you a good example of my organization, right?
You
I have
use it up for 15 minutes, you know.
15 minutes.
I've been at the football and I wanted to speak football.
Cataract, let me say this. In my organization, right?
Yes.
I have people who I pay and people who volunteer. And the people who
Yes, sir.
volunteer, the expectation for them is way higher than the people who I pay because the people who volunteer are members while the people who I pay are professionals that I hire to do a
Yes,
specific
sir.
task. So you have volunteers that because they're part of an organization and they volunteer in the organization, the level of expectation is way higher than when you bring in someone to come and do paid service over a period of time. That makes sense?
Not to me, but I rest the case and I would make it there. You, I learned differently. And I was told that when you want competence, you seek that competence, because most people in Jamaica, the reality is that most people who volunteer have another job that they do that pays them. Most people. And therefore, they are not able to give 100% of their time towards the endeavor, right? So what volunteers are in most organizations that I'm involved in is that they add to the capacity that is there. They are able to broaden the scope of what can be done, but there's a core capacity that is on staff that is tasked with achieving specific objectives. Now you may have someone who comes in. You may have there are very few people I know that have volunteer full time, that receive no pay or remuneration from an organization, that are not doing something else in order to.
All right. So,
maintain.
So can I jump in for a second?
Go ahead.
So Cataract, it depends on the individual. This is an individual thing.
There you go.
It depends on the individual, because if I volunteer, that means I expect to provide a certain service.
Yes.
If I have a mandate to fulfill, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I have some sense of accountability and some sense of integrity. I'm going to do the job to the best of my ability. The person who get paid maybe the same, right? They get paid, so there's an expectation of them. If they don't do the job, you can fire them. You're right. The volunteer, as I said before, have less risk because they can walk away without feeling that sense of repercussion. But if you're a responsible person, you're accountable, and repercussion may not be the same. You're going to do it to the best of your ability because you volunteer to do it.
Yeah. So let me give you a good example. I'm going to give I'll use these two. No man, I'm going to use these two persons because I think I can call their names, and you know them, right? Unseen. All right. Unseen. And let's say Devon Porter, right? So if Devon Porter says he would volunteer to recruit and find players, right? And he would volunteer, and Unseen is being paid, I still believe that though Devon Porter is volunteering, his competence level is so high that he would do a better job, because money many times don't affect the person of character competence level. If you're a person of character, if your competence is high, not being paid is not an issue. That's a character problem. If you're a flawed character, whether you're paid or not.
No, but I'm not talking about people with problems. That I'm saying to you. So if I am employed full time in 2 jobs and I am taking up the recruitment voluntarily of players overseas, I can only make those calls. When an agent from England calls me and I am on my full-time primary job, I cannot take that call.
But that don't mean you won't be more competent than the person.
So Cataract, you're confusing availability with competence.
Yeah, with competence.
No, I'm not. But hold on, I'm saying to you that many times they have another job. But I'm not get into this HR because
So Cataract, I don't disagree with you. Cataract, there's a fundamental point you're making, which is what you're saying. If someone has multiple things they're doing, like Dennis Franklin, for example, he's not able to do all of them in an excellent manner because you only have so much time as an individual. And what you're saying is that if you're working a full-time job, you won't have enough time to dedicate to something else you're volunteering for in a manner you may need to, even though you have the best of intention. Right? No one is disagreeing with that concept. No one's disagreeing with that concept.
So let me ask you a question, Cataract. In the last 6 months of Dennis Chung, right? And compare the last 6 months with the 2 GenSec, who you believe, one has many other tasks he's doing, but who you believe has displayed the highest level of competence? 1 6 years, 1 6 months.
I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that.
Okay. I'm just
I'll not be drawn to that because I don't know the terms that you have to give somebody a period to perform. And at the end of that period, you ask what was the evaluation of their performance, right? And
Okay.
Mr. Chung is on a period. It's not a realistic period. There are issues happening. And I will say this, Mr.
No,
Chung
but
speaks
you're
very
answering. You say
eloquently.
you're not going to answer.
No. I said I'm not going to make a comparison with Mr. Chung and Mr. Wint.
So don't
I'm
compare them. Don't
saying that
compare. Don't. All right.
I'm
Move to
not
the next.
comparing.
Move to
So
the
I'm
next
not.
point.
No. I'm not. Hold on. No. I'll not be muzzled. I'm not comparing. I'm saying that Mr. Chung speaks eloquently, and Mr. Chung is very good at crisis management. So he comes out strong. Everything I've learned in crisis management, he speaks assuredly.
So are you
And
suggesting
he
the
said,
previous person was not good at crisis management?
the previous person did not do any communication whatsoever.
So who is better? Who has been more effective in terms of the communication?
In communication,
Yes.
Mr. Chung,
Who has been better at crisis
in
management?
communication. No, hold on, because crisis management,
Yeah.
you can say the right things. Because, for example, I would want to ask Mr. Chung, but I'm respectful of your program. I used to do a message you doing, and I said, okay, and I suspect that's why you have Mr. Cranky, because I know, right? Mr. Chung, I listened to him when he was at the airport. When he was at the airport. When he was at the airport on the under 17 visa debacle, right? With going to Guatemala with the visa waiver issue. And he said, I put the things in place that this will not happen again. Clear as being, I heard it. Less than 2 months later, we are hearing the same thing.
It's not the same.
In a
Cataract.
different, hold a minute, in a different iteration.
It is not the same thing.
So I say,
Cataract.
hold a minute,
Correct
sir.
you. It is not cataract.
So I'm gonna say cataract. I think you have any time cataract. You've talked for a long time cataract, and I've listened. Let me just say this. Let me jump in here. I agree with you, cataract, about the comparative. I don't disagree with that actually, because you don't have enough evidence to determine who is performing a better job. Because as you rightly say, and actually you're talking about, you're actually observing also, which is a good thing. I thought you were talking so much you couldn't hear anything else. But I would agree with you, Cataract, that a couple of things you have said is very important. One is you don't have the evidence to do a good comparison. And more important, as you said, Dennis has done a very good job of reaching out to different forums to communicate, disseminate his message. Because when you're silent, doesn't mean you're not doing a good job, because sometimes we talk a lot but don't do anything. But his ability to communicate what he's doing and to respond to crisis seems to be, it does a good job of doing that. My only problem is this. Why are there so many crises to need to respond to? Why are we always putting out fires, even with him in the job? As you're saying, he said he was going to be proactive and mitigating these things before they got to crisis level. It shouldn't have been a crisis. So the smoothness of the operation has not manifested itself because we're still putting out fires. We still have crisis. Why do we have all these crises still? I'm not giving them leeway about this visa thing in the management. We don't buy it. If we have moved the visa process from Jamaica to the US, nobody knew about that. So all the people go for visa. I'm confused about that actually. I mean, I haven't applied for a British passport in a while, but that's confusing to me that no one knew about this management. It's a last minute thing. That makes no sense to me. So if someone is a brilliant communicator and they communicate well, doesn't mean that they actually execute well in what their daily responsibilities are. And I am a little bit surprised about, as Cataract alluded to, we had the situation on the under 17 and it manifests itself in a different way today, which should not be the case. All these things, management, we should have learned from and put measures in place to mitigate them. So I'm confused about that, I must admit. Cataract, I don't take 15 minutes like I take 5, but you can take over. I take 5. So I know you're surprised, but I only take 5. I don't take 50. I don't need 50.
We have 15 minutes to go, Cataract, and 14 minutes and 30 seconds is yours. Current can I only
and you have used 30 seconds of the 30 seconds. So Mannings, I'm saying they're not the same thing. The visa thing. I'm saying this is a stance that is surprising. I'm saying this. I don't look at the overall thing. I try to be analytical. So hear this. How could a manager of a women's football team not have the necessary visa? Because I can understand that you don't know the players that you're going to pick, but you certainly know who the manager is of the team. And you would know that once you qualified, that the team would have to travel to various locations, and they generally go through the United States, Europe, or the UK, which are three nations that require visas. So that for me speaks to a systemic problem, an operational problem, and a logistics matter. Now, from the team qualified, for example, we know who the pool of players is. You're going to have one or two players added to the thing. Someone should have said, okay, when the under 17 thing happened, let us check on the regular girls. Do we have the necessary paperwork for them to go to Australia and New Zealand? Because they'll be flying through these countries to get there because they're coming from various places. So maybe this is a God bless. Otherwise, we might have been hearing this come June. So I would like to see where an issue happens. We say, okay, we give you a pass, but it doesn't reoccur. And it's the reoccurrence that speaks to systemic issues, Mannings, which I would like to see resolved.
All right, we have a caller calling. I think if I keep this one, is going to cut off yours. Anything else you want to say? And then I'll respond because I just had man is still calling, so I wanted to. He called a couple of times, so I want to make sure you finish.
Manix man, I wouldn't ask that question, Manix man. It's not a good question there, Cataract. Cataract is never finished. Just a Cataract, you have to take another call, Cataract. Do you have any last concluding comments before you go?
Cataract, you still here?
Yes, I am here. I'm here, sir. And you have accommodated me for a long time.
All right, so let me take Brian, and you can listen up. If he's not too long, and then we have some time, we'll call you back. All right, Cataract? You look like it, man.
Answer the question. I have not hijacked your line.
Cataract, we'll call you back. I want to go there and say, you want to come off on the phone. You want to say, no, come off on the phone line, people. You want to say, no, hang up. You want to say, no, hang up. Nobody want to call off. Jesus. Hey, Brother Steele, I'm very sorry about that. You know, we had a caller online. We had to work out a deal to get them out. So finally, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Let's take a few minutes. I can give you back your time. Okay, totally 15. Yeah, take about 15 minutes and give you next 12.
Okay.
But the total, I agree with him in the mind.
Yeah. On what?
I agree with him on the point he was making that that there appears to be a good choice to manager because there's no
Oh, you sound like that. Are you hearing?
Yeah, you got to call back. If the phone is really bad, the line is bad.
Like you're under the bed or something.
No, it's not under the bed. It's someplace else. You need to call back, man. Steve, we can't hear you.
You're making a good point, but we're not hearing you.
Call back, man.
Huh?
You're hearing better now?
Yeah, come from
It's a little better.
Yeah.
No. Anyways, as me I say, in the situation, when Ryan asked who was responsible for doing the visa application process, he said that the line a national women's team And so she's responsible for church.
Man, still let me call you on WhatsApp and see if it is better. Cause it look like you yeah, I don't know people. Look like I don't know what going with Man of Steel, man. Man of Steel look like him there beach or something and
Yeah, he's not coming in well.
snorkeling or something like that. Yeah, man, we're hearing you now.
Okay, yeah. So I'm saying, I was listening to Dennis on Ryan's show, and when Ryan asked him who was responsible for, the visa application process for the staff, and he said it was the responsibility of the manager of the senior team. No,
Which is Rice Simpson.
no, the manager of the senior national women's team. Her name is
Chris.
I think Crystal something.
Yeah,
I think her name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said she in conjunction with Roy Simpson were mainly him said she was handling it, but I guess he was maybe saying that Roy may be helping her and stuff, given Roy is the general manager for the JFF. But the story just as a thank you say, add up to me, man. Me not buy the whole. I understand the contingency them put in place in terms of to get the
Leicester
City staff. Even when you asked him if the coach said it, he alluded to the fact that the coach didn't say what he was quoted as, but he said something close, like something like the local staff isn't here to give him assistance. And then you asked him, why is it that the coach isn't being asked? In basically just find out to tell the reason why he not think it makes sense. And I really agree with that, because if the coach is putting the JFF in a bad light based on his comments being misinterpreted, then he needs to come out and say, I didn't say this is what I said, or this is what I meant.
Yeah, because what I ask is that why they never ask the news outlet to retract the statement? And his response, he basically said like,
not doing that.
Right. They will put out. Yeah, he said that they will put out other information. Without
and then people will begin to question whether or not they are credible. Instead of not in so many words, but that's basically what I'm saying. So the truth is, Manning, and I'm just being clear, based on what I see between the new Gentech and the last Gentech, I don't know who is doing a better job. Because we're having the same problem. Is the only difference is we have somebody now who will come and explain what the situation is to us. But we're having the same problem. We have a staff who we are having a camp. Remember, instead the coach they wanted a UK camp from they qualified. The coach they want a UK camp. Then from them time them should have started putting things in place to ensure say the people them who need to be at the camp have the document to go there.
I did ask that because I even asked about Jody Brown. Like, why wouldn't Jody Brown have it?
Manning, so you see the game was cancelled with Cameroon.
Yes.
It's irrelevant. You know why the game is irrelevant? Because whether or not they had the game, he said the coach wanted a camp. So they could have very well had a camp there and not play any game, just have a training camp for them local players too, So them know them all go England. Whether if they never get to play Cameroon, they would have played somebody else.
Could it be though, Brian, why the first Gensec, seeing that obviously it is not the Gensecs then are the problem? Could it be the rest of the staff?
No, because he said he's not the one that is.
No, man. Why I'm asking you that is that if no matter who you bring in, the same problem exists, maybe
we have an organizational capacity issue.
There you go.
Which is euphemism to say, I need better people around me to get the job done.
Exactly. That is what he said. Which is probably what the other Gensec suffered from. They just don't have in the organization enough people.
And what Cataract mentioned before actually is saying some of the positions JFS seem to be volunteer.
You ever run? All right.
Now, what he alluded to Manning's man, as Cataract was saying previously, was that when you volunteer for a position, you may not have the availability to execute your responsibility. I thought these were permanent positions that are responsible for some of these activities, right? Not necessarily volunteer positions. So it's a little bit surprising we have these. Yeah.
the volunteer position? What are the paid position? And how,
Yeah.
especially the paid position, how are people appointed to those posts?
Yeah. No, it's disappointing to be going through the same thing management over and over again. And I agree with Ketarak about the evaluation process about the prior GenTech versus current, because at least this GenSec is communicating, which we should applaud them for in the management, because
No, well, what
I don't think most football federations have people out there 24/7 engaging with their public. That's a fact.
The fact that we have to hear from the leaders of football so often show that something is wrong organizationally.
Yes, that is true.
And the other thing, Ketarak, here's why I say the recruitment is because the recruitment strategy is working. Coach Emir Hallgrimson, John Wall, the goalkeeper coach, Hugh Bradford, that's major appointments. Those are Dennis Chung, Chris Deering. These are several changes that has happened in the last 6 months. So it is not perfected. There are many flaws, but I believe there are components of it that are working.
The one thing, management, the question is this: how long do we give these personnel what is enough time to then do a good evaluation of their performance, right? Do we see material changes?
Yeah.
Because the less crisis you see, the more you feel confident things are going well, right? The less you see from players coming out, or you see hiccup with people not being able to get to destinations, the better you feel about the process. So I don't know what that evaluation timeline looks like,
Yeah.
but at some point we should have a good perspective to draw some conclusions about how they're doing.
I think when November comes, because we'd have seen like the Gold Cup, couple of Nations League games, friendly games, we should make the women would have gone to the World Cup and come back. The Olympic qualifiers would have gone. So I think November, which would mean Mr. Chung has been in there in a year. The coach would have been like close to 1 year, and see what is going to happen.
I have never seen an organization, and maybe because it's more transparent, with so much logistic problem. It's amazing management, and it's a continuum. Logistics after logistics.
The one thing I keep wondering is why the person in charge of travel, the process for this visa stuff, I need to know, like, nobody wants to tell why the person or the persons have been a mainstay in the organization.
So maybe next time you talk to Dennis or whoever the person is, and Rudolph, and you know what? Rudolph will say it's not his domain, so he's not going to comment on that, because you know how he is. He's like a Teflon Don, he passes it on. So maybe Dennis can explain that as to why the person retained their situation. Is he saying that it's not that person's fault when these things occur? And is that really the case, right? So it's a good question to ask, which is, how do you retain your position when so much things around travel are a challenge or a problem?
Yeah.
It's a fair point. Fair point.
Well, good show. Big up yourself, Ketara. I don't know if you know, but you have taken over Instagram.
What do you mean?
Ketara.
Ketara taking over Instagram?
Yeah, man. You don't see the things, all these postings.
No, I haven't gone on Instagram. I don't go on Instagram that much, so I wouldn't have a good insight into
apparently
that medium.
We were doing a show and they clipped him when he said that Barcelona is in the champ and stuff, and Barcelona never qualified for the Champions League.
Oh, but maybe Ketara keeps talking. Maybe have missed that while he's giving a speech. He may have missed that Barcelona got knocked out about the Champions League and the Europa League. So maybe he missed that. That happens, if you're talking, you can't hear sometimes. But he's listening when he's talking, so
So they have him all over Instagram and that. I don't know if you even know. And then there's a next thing he said about. I asked him about the league, about the Premier League, and he says he doesn't know about those teams. He knows about Leeds or something to that effect. He only watch Leeds.
Cataract, that's not a good thing, You're supposed to be Mr. Know It All. So there shouldn't be anything that you don't know.
They have him all over Instagram.
So who posts those things? Is it fan base, the ultras as he called them?
It's in a group, You don't see them. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find one. Let me see if I
We
can
have to
find.
find a way because somebody in the chat said cataract lean because his communication is
I don't,
slanted. We have to
I don't,
try to pull him back when he's, when
I,
nowadays man, they have cars, man. They have that the new
yeah.
BMWs. If you're driving and you don't put your signal on, it keeps you in the lane and it pulls you back. So you have to get some blinkers for cataract to keep him in the lane because he goes on the tangent quite a bit actually.
All right, let me see if I can play this one. This is one of them that is out there with the great cataract. I don't know. I don't even know who did this, but I know I got it. So let me find it. I'm going to play it. But there are several of them, It's like they were on the lookout for him on the moment.
So what is cataract bloopers? Is it cataract bloopers? People are there watching him as he makes a mistake. Because when you're in the public forum, man, you talk a lot and you're gonna make mistakes, It's inherent
I
in
don't.
you because you're not infallible as a human being. You're gonna make mistakes.
I don't know why, but I found this one. I just got this one. Says a lot of them. I mean, this is really
Let me look.
what with Chelsea.
I don't really mind sides still.
Who win Champions League last season? Real Madrid.
Yes.
Who Real Madrid played in the final?
I don't really. My team don't really play.
So Jamaica League's not playing, he doesn't care. That's not good cataract. Cataract, you're putting that certain boy, I tell you, not a good thing.
Yo, the cataract.
He could have just said he forgot, He could have just said he forgot.
Hey, yeah, it's several of them, but they have several of them. I need to find. Let me find the next one. There are some very funny ones. Let me see if I can find. Where is it? It's a very funny one, Yeah, I think it's this one. Is it this one? Oh, jeez.
Cataract, making comments in the comment section. Yeah. Cataract, if you dish it out, you have to be able to digest it.
I need to
That's all I
confirm
say.
that it is me. I wonder if it is this. Let me see if it is this.
I love your question, Cataract, about how he got elected. Not elected, how he assumed his position in whatever party he was affiliated with, and he said he got voted. I didn't know it was an electable position where he got voted in. It's interesting. I have to look that up. Maybe it's someplace on the web someplace. I got to find out if there is an electoral position that Cataract is elected in.
But there is one. Oh, geez, where is it? I can't find it. Okay, this one. Yeah. All right. All right.
Oh, man. You have to share the joke. You can't just laugh without sharing it, man. You can't start laughing and have to share
I
it.
am telling you, people, it's so many of them. So let me go. Let me present this one. But last one and then we go. But you need to check them out, Cranky. Listen, it's like they did a compilation of cataract.
So where on? I don't really use Instagram, so where on Instagram do you find it?
How to find them, So listen to this.
Oh.
Jamaica. Boom.
I think that one. I think that one. It says he made a mistake with the national. So cataract. There's an ongoing issue with this person.
So he's like conflict with someone and they're calling him out?
I don't know because I'm in a group and I keep seeing these things. So I don't know. But it seemed like this person, they have one with him and like cataract crying. So it looked like they have a little thing. I don't know. It looked like they know each other.
Oh, so they have comedy sketch of him, of his bloopers. Yeah. So he has his bloopers. So it's like you can create a whole. What we should do actually is create a section that says cataract bloopers and just have a show on cataract bloopers, and you can comment over it.
I don't know, but I don't know. But it seems like they've had some kind of issue, and out of that, a lot of these postings are out there. with him and thing. But listen, Cranky, thank you for coming on. We have a big game on Sunday. I haven't seen Demo in a while.
Well, I think I said it's management. You remember management previously a while ago? I came on your programs and I said that Trent Alexander-Arnold, I'm gonna use euphemism this time, is challenged defensively. I won't say exactly what I said, and I got a lot of retort from certain parties about I don't know football, I don't understand football. All of a sudden, it's manifesting itself, isn't it? His play at right back hasn't been.
They benched him in the last game.
Yeah, he got benched in the last play because you have to be able to defend management. Right back is a defensive position, management. It's not right wing. It's not attacking midfield. It's a defensive position first. You defend first, protect your goal, then you attack. Apparently, Trent only goes one way. Because I watched him against Grealish, the management.
Yeah.
You would never really tell in that game against Man City, but Grealish was being marked by Trent Alexander-Arnold ever. Not one time did he win a ball from Grealish. Not one time did he tackle him. In fact, he was never even close to him. And any play for the in fact, Grealish won man of the match, you know. First time I see Grealish have man of the match for a while.
Yeah.
Because you find someone who can just run around. We'll see when Ben White plays with that, we'll be saying.
I would love for them to play him though.
I did put that. I think I had said that someplace that I would love Trent to play.
Trent isn't Liverpool problem. He is a scapegoat. Well,
what do you mean the scapegoat? If you can't defend, then you're defender. What do you mean scapegoat?
Kyle play the scapegoat. I wanted to play the scapegoat against Arsenal. But I also want to remind you all that Reggae Boys Supporters Club, the fund that are being raised for the coach, that is still going on. Haven't received any donations, still at $1,250, seven donations. So let me just share that with you for those of you who did not know, so you can see it, you can join and be a part of that. It is Reggae Boys Supporters Club trying to help with coaching education in Jamaica, and this is their effort right here. So you can go there. There you go, to the GoFundMe Reggae Boys Supporters Club. Very easy, right? And make a donation of any amount to help them. All right. We're going to end the show. I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Dennis Chung for coming on, to Cranky as well for coming on, for all the persons who called in, for all the persons who were in the comment section. Listen, the truth is we have over on this video, we had over 100 and odd views, and it was like we had like 40, when you look at the algorithms, like 40, 60 persons not subscribed. All right, so if you are watching and you have not yet subscribed, just subscribe before you go, and also hit the like button before you go. All right, remember the Reggae Girls game will be streamed come Monday. All right, it is still Super Friday, and we did make a promise to help someone. I don't see you guys contributing towards that, so go ahead and give some super stickers. We need $100. Yeah, $100.
Man, you should probably stream the game more than once, because a lot of people be working at the time the game is on, right? 8, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Monday is Easter Monday. Oh, you don't get any?
No, we don't get Easter Monday here, man. I got today off. I don't get Monday off. So if you guys can repeat in the evening, that would be welcome.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay. So yeah. All right. So hit the like before you go, and again, thanks again, Cranky.
Yeah, bless up.
Hope we win on Sunday. Yeah, man. Yeah. So there you go, people. That is the link. You can go there, make a donation. So please, also, again, it is Super Friday. We had a great show. We want to get some funds so we can help the female who lost her purse. And I don't know, just a couple of persons. Show some love before you go, all right? We have I'm going to give you 5 minutes to drop some super chats and super stickers to help in the effort, all right? So I'm just going to linger around, and you drop some super stickers and some super chats to help with this effort. So go ahead. Here we go, all right? Let's see who first is going to do that. We need around $100. All right. We're going to have Unseen on tomorrow. We have the Miramar Track and Field Invitational, and we also have tomorrow Carifta Trials coming up as well. All right, so go ahead, hit up that like button, subscribe, super sticker, super chat. We're waiting on you. She lost her purse and her belongings, so yeah. All right, we're not going to keep this going, We're not going to, you understand me? We're not going to stay here. There you go. 1. Thank you, Kyle. $5 in the building. There you go. 95 to go. 95 to go. Where are the people? 95 to go. Where are the people? Come on, hit the like button as well, Subscribe and share. You understand me? Yeah. Remember, that link right there is the link to go over to Reggae Boy Supporters Club and help and give towards coaching education in Jamaica. Yeah. 3 minutes leaving, people, because it's under 3:15. 3 hours and 15 minutes. Not going beyond that. What do you mean, Kyle? Talk to them. And people, when you go on the other platforms, you need to tell them about this, Copy the link and keep it everywhere you go. Every platform you go on, make sure you pin it over there. You pin it in the comment section. You drop it in the comment section. You understand me? Yeah. Yep. Support the project. Support the work. Support coaching education. Don't be a talker alone. You understand me? Good Friday. Make sure you give a good gift on Good Friday. Alrighty. Big up to all of the people, We have a minute and like 30 seconds to go, and then we will close out the show. Yeah. Alrighty, we have 1 minute to go. Thank you again. You understand me? We're going to try to get on a Singer J on Sunday. You understand me? Hey, Sunday going to be nice, because we're going to, the whole Michael Toller, big thing out of Draxall. Alright, so people, there you go. This is it now. We are about to close. I am Management. This has been I Am Sure Sport. Again, we say on a disclosed location. And we are over. And we are O-U-T out of here.
Yo, watch about dog, SK New Erdis, the body out there, Sniper King I represent for I Am Sure Sports. You get to me, I say, when you want the latest news and sports and updates and all of that, check out I Am Sure Sports. You know the thing goes in. Remember, cover the whole island. Remember Kingston, Westmoreland, Galchester, Ocho-Race, Galtigo Bay, everywhere. I Am Sure Sports, check it out for the latest news and latest updates. Sniper King I represent. Where them feel like, yeah, someone on for the food from young, from where they knee height. I Am Sure Sports. Yeah, dog.